America, from trucks and trains to tractors and excavators, and the need for skilled technicians is exploding.
The opportunities in the diesel world are endless. Here is everything that you'll ever need to succeed.
At the University of Northwestern Ohio, you'll train on real engines, real rigs, and real industry tools, preparing you for careers in transportation, construction, agriculture, and beyond. Apply now at unoh.edu.
Hello and welcome to the Sandown is for sure better than this 2 hours race at the Michelin Raceway here at Road Atlanta, where we traded after wrestling rivers at the Indy Road Course to head south into the rolling hills of North Georgia. Welcome to Road Atlanta, where it's 2.54 miles, 12 turns, blind crests, and the infamous downhill to turn 12. Just days removed from the Petit Le Mans and absolutely primed and looking for a fight. Thank you for joining us for the Sandown is for sure better than this 2 hours. I am your host, Wesley Shaw. Welcome today in the commentary team by Mr. Cade Corbin.
Thank you, Wesley. I'm really excited for this one. You know, I think Road Atlanta has the opportunity to produce a lot of chaos. We've seen it in both the real world with that Petit Le Mans. You mentioned that entire race week, all kinds of different series racing there. And of course, here in the CIL, it's been a long time favorite of a lot of drivers. We raced here in the Cup Series. We raced here last season in the FC Series. And tonight we are going to race multi-class here in the UNOH Collegiate Sportscar Challenge. So I'm excited for this one. Glad to be up in the booth for it, and can't wait to see. We're going to get rolling here in just about 15 minutes.
Absolutely. And behind the scenes running today's show, besides me and Mr. Cade Corbin, is going to be our lead producer, Lee Kane. So thank you, Kane, for giving us such a good show to run here today. And we're going to be seeing a lot of great racing in here in 2 hours between three separate classes. The three separate classes being the LMP1, LMP2, and GT3. Cade, what seems to be your favorite league to run in these three classes? Which car would you want to race today?
Well, I'm a big fan of the LMP2 cars. You know, I like to be right in the middle. It gives you a really interesting chess match of trying to balance passing those GT3 cars that just don't quite have that same power to rip ratio, but then you're also trying to manage how those GTPs, those LMP1s, those hypercars, they got to get around you, and they got to get around you efficiently. And so I really like playing both sides of that game. Finding lap time in the LMP2 is also a ton of fun. I've run hundreds of laps actually at Road Atlanta in the LMP2 car. But I think it's a really good class, but all three of the classes present unique challenges. Of course, if you're the GT3s, you got to balance finding speed with getting out of the way. GTPs, you got to avoid those rolling chicanes, but same thing, you've still got to find that lap time. And of course, there's that two-directional chess match that the dentists in the middle got to play. So a lot going to be on the line for all three classes, a lot to manage for everybody, but it is certainly it's going to be a lot to do behind the wheel for drivers of every class here tonight.
Absolutely. That's such a great run by Mr. Cade Corbin. I love running the GT3s personally. I'm a huge fan of the C3 or the C8 Corvettes in the GT3 class. I used to run them last season, but tonight I'll be sitting here in the commentary booth. But moving on to the schedule, tonight is the third round of season 13. So let's take a look into the schedule ahead this fall and see where the drivers are going and where we're going to be this season and what we're going to be up against, if we can get that to take a look. October 13th, Road Atlanta. Ahead of us is going to be October 20th for Homestead, Miami, where we're going to see a lot of great racing there. Ahead of that, we have Martinsville Speedway, Kentucky Speedway, Darlington, Auto Club, and Kansas. Out of these races, Cade, I think my favorite's probably going to have to be Homestead for the College Cup Series. But to take a look at our Road Atlanta for tonight, it looks like it's going to be a lot different compared to Monday. Monday, we saw some very tight racing. We saw a bunch of accidents, a bunch of chaos go down, especially in that double right-hander and into turn 12. Are we going to be looking at some of the similar events today, or are we going to be seeing a lot cleaner racing tonight?
I think there's going to be a mix of both that aggression, but then at the same time, you're looking at a longer race here tonight. That College Cup race was a little bit, I don't want to say pressed for time, but it felt a little like a sprint race. It really ran just over an hour. Once we really got green flag racing, it was kind of over in a snap. Tonight, it's 2 hours, so you're looking at time-wise about double the length. Theoretically, should mean about double the patience, but really some guys are going to be even easier on it, knowing that they have such a long race ahead of them, and knowing that they have so much to navigate. At the same time, it's a very difficult track to pass at. There are very limited passing opportunities here. You've got that heavy braking zone into turn 10. Occasionally you can get somebody through that 5, 6, that kind of second or third sector area of the track. But other than that, you are very limited in spots on the track where you can make a move to gain position. And so when you're catching a slower car, a GTP catches an LMP2 or something like that, or even just a slower car within the middle of the class, you have got to display patience. And when that patience runs out, people get overzealous, they get over aggressive in some of these super narrow corners, and that's what leads to the chaos. So we have plenty of drivers signed up for this race. Means there's going to be a lot of opportunities for side-by-side racing and a lot of opportunities for those incidents. So I think we're going to see a little bit of a mix of both.
Absolutely. I think going into the chicanes is definitely going to be a very interesting spot to run between these three classes. It almost feels like that rolling chicane is going to be moving throughout this track, especially on that front straight when you're coming off that downhill right after coming across that last chicane there. That rolling chicane is definitely going to be one tough cookie to beat going past turn 1 and into the S's. I think in our 2.54 miles with our 12 turns, the track opened not in 1970, but actually in the summer of 1969, a very controversial year, a very great year for cars, manufacturing, and racing. But in 1969, we actually closed this track back in 1993 until Dan Panaz bought it in 1996 and reopened it. But it wasn't that long until NASCAR, the series, bought it in 2012. Moving on from that 2012, we're going to be looking at 45 miles of a pit speed, so that's definitely going to be one heck of an entry coming off that downhill, especially for the GT2 car, or GT3, I'm sorry. The GT3 cars are going to have a lot of fun going into there, but I think the biggest thing is probably going to be a little bit of bottoming out coming into that pit lane with the lap record setting at 1 minute, 6 seconds, and 0.870 in your microseconds. Man, that is a very fast time. What car do you think that was, Mr. Cade?
I mean, I'd have to imagine that it was probably a GTP. Typically, we don't see a ton of open wheel racing here. That'd be the only car I could imagine that would go faster than that. But yeah, the GTPs are typically down around minute 7, minute 8, really, really fast. I mean, you look at that lap length, and you consider just how tight it is. When you get on the straightaways, you're hauling some mail for sure. So I'd imagine that'd be a GTP, and I'd imagine one guy who's going to be shooting for that record all day long is going to be our current GTP points leader, Sean Campbell. That man has set the fastest lap in both of our points paying races thus far this season, and I bet that he's looking to do it again tonight.
Absolutely. I think Sean Campbell has been running great all season. I think we might see another win for him here tonight with him leading. Who is going to be your driver pick here, Cade? I think mine is going to have to stick along with the IndyCar series. I'm going to have to go back with our Muhammad Alif.
Well, I think in the GTP category, it's going to be really, really hard to beat Sean Campbell. That being said, I don't like picking the low-hanging fruit. I think there's plenty of opportunities for Campbell to get himself caught up in a bad situation. You go down into turn 10, there's a lap car in front of you or behind you who doesn't know what he's doing. Very easily to get taken out by something that isn't your fault. So I am going to pick a different GTP. I'm actually going to pick Christian Hill because, why not? Let's go with Christian. I think Christian's going to win the GTP. Now, question for you, Wesley. Who do you got winning the LMP2 and GT3 categories in this one?
That is a tough argument there. For the GT3s, I think I'm going to have to run with the Florida International University car, the Robert Kisiel Jr. That Mustang GT3 has been running strong all season. He's sitting 4th in the points paying right now. So I think if he can hold strong here and get himself a win, I think that's sure going to bump him up from that 4th and maybe get him into that top 3. Now for the LMP2s, that is a big jump there. I think LMP2s, I'm going to have to go probably with Ricky Paz. He's always a very strong driver in those Dallara P12, sitting 2nd in points right now. I think if he can also pull off a win in his class respectively and beat Jake Cummings, he may just close down that gap and get him higher up. How about you, Cade?
Well, I think for that LMP2 category, like you talked about, Jake Cummings has been really, really good this year. He's going to be a hard guy to beat. Gonna have to go with Jake Cummings' Converse. Meanwhile, for the GT3 category, I think it would be unfair not to mention Clint Halterman, actually the sponsor of tonight's race. Mr. Halterman's put up some money to get this race named after his favorite track, which is not Road Atlanta, but he is quite good at this racetrack. Ran here on Monday, has plenty of experience here in Braselton, and I think Clint Halterman is going to win his first GT3 class win of the season. So I've got bets on Cummings, Halterman, and I don't even remember who I picked for GTP. I don't know. Oh, Christian. Yeah, Christian Hill. All right, so those are my 3 guys. So we will be keeping an eye on that. We do have your points for the season, talking about Jake Cummings leading that LMP2 standings. If we can go ahead and get that pulled up, Wesley, if you'll kind of have a look at this.
Absolutely. Kind of leading with our LMP2s, kind of the middle class. We're going to see Jake Cummings in first, leading with 93 points. At second place, you have Ricky Paz, my pick for tonight, at 79. And closing out the top 3 is going to be Thomas Crump, leading with Clemson University at 75. Let's see. In the championship overall, we're going to be seeing Matthew Morton from Ohio State University with 168 points, with Brandon Schulenberger from Wingate at 161.
I gotta jump in here. This is the cup standings. This is the standings for the Collegiate iRacing League's Yum2 College Cup Series. So we do apologize for that. Matthew Morton not leading the standings anymore. That's a little bit of an outdated graphic there, but we will have the you may be able to read them off to you here. Wesley, do you have that pulled up on your end?
Absolutely. So I'll start off with the GT3 series, running off of that. So we're in first of the GT3 series. We're going to be seeing Enrique Nino with his BMW M4 GT3 Evo from Florida International with 91 points. We have Nick Henley in the Ball State University machine at second spot, and Jake Dick in the Ball State University as well. So you have a very strong Ball State presence here, as well as the IndyCar series. So check that out as well on Thursday nights. Moving into back with our LMP2s, like I said, we have Jake Cummings leading, with Ricky Paz in second and Thomas Crump leading your LMP2s. And the fastest class of the night, the LMP1, our GTP series, leading with Sean Campbell in his University of North Carolina machine, with Jamie Palencia in that Fisher College spot leading in the second place, and R. Muhammad Ali, my pick for tonight, running again in the Ball State machine. Being with our top 3, you have a Cadillac, an Acura, and a Ferrari, 3 very prominent makers here in the GTP series, as well as the LMP2s, but the LMP2s are being led by the Dallaras this season with the P217s. It's all the same cars, all the same chassis. The only difference you have in the LMP2s is going to be the setups versus our GTPs and GT3s. It's going to be one heck of a race tonight to go along with our points, leading with Sean Campbell, Ricky Paz, and our Enrique Nino. 3 very prominent drivers in this series this year, running the UNOH Sportscar Challenge, our very first multi-class racing series here in the CIL that I am knowledgeable of. If there is another one, it was probably because it's older than all 3 of us in the panel tonight.
Yeah, it's certainly been a long time since the CIL has gone multi-class racing, but this season, I think it's been a pretty big success. We put on some great racing, and we're excited to do that again tonight. So like we've said, 3 different classes, really 3 different wins up for grabs. So kind of 3 competitions. The races within the race make it very exciting to watch. We want to shout out our entire admin team, all the stewards, and everybody who works behind the scenes to make these races possible. And hopefully shortly we'll be able to go trackside and take the green flag here at Road Atlanta. I believe qualifying has just about wrapped up.
Yeah, sorry.
So we will hopefully... Yep.
Sorry, go ahead.
So yeah, we'll hopefully have that shot for you here. But before we jump into this, Wesley, I do want to ask, what is your Mount Rushmore of tracks? If you had to pick 4 tracks better than any other tracks, what are you going to go with?
And to run with my roots of sim racing, I've always been a very big endurance racer. I've always been a big NASCAR racer. The top 4 tracks out of anything in the world, I have to give it to the Nürburgring Nordschleife, the Le Mans, Daytona, and I have to go back home with my home track, something I'm very familiar with racing in person several times over the years. I have to give it to Texas Motor Speedway. It's very, very diverse of a track choice, very, very different between the 4, but I think it's very strong, very good tracks. Cade, what's your Mount Rushmore between the 4?
Oh man, if I had to pick 3 tracks, kind of similar to you, I've done a lot of oval racing, a lot of endurance racing. Daytona, of course, you can get the both the road layout and the oval track there, so I'll take both of those. And then, man, my favorite oval of all time might have to be Homestead, Miami. We're going there next week. I think it's a great track. Some people don't like it too much, but and then yeah, for if I had to pick maybe a best road track, I'm a huge fan of Spa out in Belgium. Great track there. So as you can see, cars are rolling. We're gonna have a rolling start here in Road Atlanta, sun setting there as they come over the crest for turn 2. Looks like Edwin Onofre is on the pole for this race, if I'm not mistaken. Well, he's on the outside of the front row there, so we'll have to see. We'll get that ticker pulled up for you in a moment, but cars are rolling and we'll be green momentarily here in Road Atlanta.
Actually, that's going to be Sean Campbell leading in that number 52
Ah.
car. That's going to be my number that he's kind of stolen there, with Edwin Onofre following in second, Muhammad Alif in third, and who is that in the 4th spot? That is Jamie Palencia with Ben Fiore, Hunter Haddesty. Let's see, who is our number 7 is going to be Ryan Whitlock and Christian Hill rounding out the top 8 for our GTP class for the Dallara P217s. I'm going to give it off to you, Cade, to lead off on that.
Only 5 LMP2s in the field for tonight. Adam Willoughby from Clemson winning the pole for that category. Ricky Paz there in the 19 car for Valparaiso. He'll start second. Jake Cummings switching to the 33 for this week. He'll be in rolling off in the 3rd spot. Cale Davidson for Ball State 4th. And Wyatt Burton, the driver from Trine, will roll off 5th in that category. Any of those five drivers could win. So that's going to be a very interesting category to keep your eye on. Now over to the GT3, so I'll give it back to you.
Absolutely. Kind of sitting in our first spot for the GT3 is going to be Robert Kiziel Jr., a very good driver there, with the 2nd spot going to Enrique Nino. With our 3rd spot, if we can get that pulled up really fast and let it kind of tick around. With 3rd place going to Ferris Krippendorf. And 4th giving it to, if we can get that ticker to kind of tick back down for us, and I can try and speak a little bit faster for you. Thank you. 3rd, we have Ferris Krippendorf, Clint Halterman in 4th, Jake Dick in 5th, Nick Henry.
Hang on, I'm going to jump in here. We're green flag. The GTPs have hit the start line and we're racing. There they are. That is Sean Campbell losing the lead, going to, I think that's Hunter Haddesty that he's going to tuck in line behind as they head down into turn number 5. And that is actually our Muhammad Alif, driver from Ball State. Different colors today. He's got the lead over Sean Campbell, took it from the 2nd row, and now trying to put some distance on Campbell. Campbell now in that 52 car. Going to be really difficult to do that. We know how good both these drivers are on the short run. That drops Onofre back to the 3rd spot, and immediately the top 2 checking out as they head through turn number 9.
So you kind of see Sean Campbell trying to close that gap and run back into Alif, take back that pole spot, just running away from that pack behind, leaving Onofre just in the dust. We kind of just see Alif starting to run away with that 1st position, though, trying to get that position away from Sean Campbell, our current pole. As they head into turn 1, you kind of see a car kind of go off. I believe that was Onofre. coming up into the hills and into the S's. Yes, that is Edwin Onofre still keeping it in third position, but he is not out of it yet as he has the entirety rest of the GTP field on his bumper fighting for that third position spot for the University of North Texas machine.
Yeah, Onofre had given up the spot there to Hamlet Placencia, now finding Christian Hill all over his back bumper. Hill started this class in the 8th position. Little bit of lockup there, already +3. Looking for +4 to the 4th position is Onofre, or excuse me, is Christian Hill. He's got a couple of car lengths now to Onofre, still trying to warm those tires, swerving back and forth on the straightaway. You need as much heat as you can in these tires early in the going, and that actually opens up the door. Now side by side, Hunter Hadesti looking around the outside as they go into turn 10, but that's going to open up the door for Ben Fiore. Fiore from Marist stuck it in there just a little bit. Don't think was able to complete the pass, and for the moment, Edwin Onofre hangs on to the 4th spot.
And single it back down onto single file, running back across the front straight and up into turn 1. As you kind of see Edwin Onofre run up a little bit of wide around that corner, just trying to make it through that S and go around that turn. As we kind of see Sean Campbell up in 2nd spot, it looks like he may have seen some kind of incident, maybe from cutting the track there. I'm not too sure. We'll take a look here in a minute. But as he tries to maybe take a move and he shoots to the outside, but it does not work as he kind of backs his button back down to 2nd spot, leaving a Leaf in that pole position, but making him work for it is all Sean Campbell can do so far as we are underway for the 2 hours of this endurance race. We're going to be looking at a lot of racing today, and don't put anything down. Keep it standing up, keep it sitting down, but get ready for the 2 hours as we are racing here at Road Atlanta.
Yeah, racing and racing hard for the lead. Campbell not letting a Leaf go away. We're now going to have a look back at what was probably an off-track moment that gave Campbell that black flag. You can see him swerving here. And now jumping back. This is down through the S's now, actually coming out of turn 12. And now he's going to serve that drive-through penalty. I believe this may have something to do with changing cars. He switched which GTP he was racing in, I believe. And so due to the rules of the series, if you change your manufacturer in the middle of the season, you must serve some sort of penalty. And I don't know if that is the case for Campbell, but that is my hypothesis. It's going to put him 30 seconds or so behind Muhammad Alif once he cycles out here. So he will have a big hole to climb out of, right now cycling all the way back to last in the GTP category. It'll be something really interesting to watch. We know that he has pace, but he is going to have to dig himself out of that. Now, Wesley, we're looking at the LMP2 category. We had a moment look at it there. Now looking at the GT3s. Kiesel's checked out, and Enrique Nino in the 2nd spot, looking at Ferris Krippendorf from Clemson University. Sitting in the 3rd spot with eyes on that FIU driver just ahead of him.
So you kind of saw him come off the track a little bit. Maybe he has his eyes a little too focused on that car and not enough on that track, as we kind of cut back to Jake Dick from Ball State University, the number 66 machine in that BMW, as he tries to get on that bumper of the McLaren right ahead of him to see where he can make a move onto that Jake Cummings car. Let's see if he can make it into the straight coming into the chicane of turn 10. Will he make any kind of move? Or I'm sorry, that is Clint Halterman. That is my mistake. I was looking at the wrong car. But will he make a move, or will he just kind of bide his time and wait for the 2 hours to come up and maybe outrun him on pace? It looks like not, as Clint Halterman is still running strong in that 4th spot, being the alumni from UNC Charlotte, as he tries to track down that 3rd car, Ferris Krippendorf, as we are all still sitting here in a single file line, running up into turn 1. Very strong turn 1. It's a very fast corner to sit there and take. It is very dangerous coming out of the pits if you are during green flag running here. But it seems like we are going to be just kind of running down the time here in the GT3 cars. Looks like not too much fighting, as Robert Kizil Jr. is just trying to run away with it, holding a 7.5 tenth, or 7.5 second, almost. I'm sorry, I am speaking over myself, but it is a 7/10 and a little bit more from the second place car of Enrique Nino. As we cut still over here on Jake Dick and onto Enrique Nino running in that BMW machine, trying to track down that Mustang. Now those Mustangs, they are a relatively new car here in the GT3 series, only getting announced here recently in the past year. It is a very strong car, very fast-paced driving experience, if I should say. I saw them run around at Le Mans and a little bit of Spa earlier this year. So let's see how they can do around here at Road America against that BMW. The BMW is a very strong and very even car. It kind of handles very dead center compared to some of the other cars like a McLaren, who's just more into straight line speed. The BMW is more geared towards the turns. Now, will Enrique Nino take advantage of that BMW being a little bit better in the corners compared to the Mustang? It looks like it as he slowly kind of chases down that 7/10 gap, now into about 5/10, slowly reeling him in. Let's see if he can get a little bit closer off of his braking points, as he goes a little bit wide there off of that turn. Let's see if you can outbrake him into these double rights. These double rights seem to be a little bit of chaos on Monday, Cade. How'd you feel about that compared to today?
Well, I think today, I mean, you've got a car that's purpose-built for road racing, right? I mean, all three of these classes will eat up road courses. They'll eat up curbs. You know, they can handle a lot of the quick switches from left to right, that load transfer, the way the car handles. The stock car is, the NASCAR Cup car is just not built for that, right? It's built to turn left. And so when you ask it to turn right, when you ask it to jump curbs and to do all these other things road racing wise, as we can see here, this is a move for the lead of the category. We saw Nino flashing his lights or something, and now that BMW of dropping way back. Now here comes Sean Campbell. There was a little bit of a situation there. I think they caught some lap traffic really early on in this race. Campbell able to get through cleanly as they were battling for the class lead. Look at that, Campbell around the, that's actually now the tail end of the GT3 category. So the GT3 leader's already in some lap traffic. Campbell finding himself in some lap traffic. Gonna have to be really careful here early in this race. But yeah, back to that point, the NASCAR stock car is just not quite built so well for these curbs. It not necessarily makes them bad, it just makes them a different kind of challenge. These cars, on the other hand, they handle heavy braking really, really well. They handle switching from left to right really, really well, and that makes them a little bit easier to handle.
Absolutely. You kind of see Sean Campbell just running around that GTP car. It almost looks like a breeze to him today. Just running around these GT3 cars like they are standing still. You kind of see some other traffic start mixing up here between the GT3s and the LMP2 cars, as well as Sean Campbell in the GTP as he kind of runs around that Ferrari running down the hill. You almost just see him almost make a double overtake against that McLaren as he starts to run down the second McLaren right ahead of him, I believe, and he goes around the inside of him down the hill, just running down these GT3 cars like they are nothing. You kind of see him flash those lights, and he's back into the fight. Who is that? Is that Mr. Ben Fiore right ahead of him in that red car?
He is caught up to Fiore and Hedesti, who had a really good battle there for about the 6th spot. Halterman going to hug the inside, let Campbell around the top. There's Fiore just behind Hedesti. Something happened to these two cars, I think, because they got a pretty big gap back up to the 81 of Ryan Whitlock, who's moved from 8th to 5th in the GTP category, as we see Hedesti jump to the inside. Whoop, there is Whitlock, actually not too far ahead of that battle. Sneaking around Krippendorf, all three of the GTPs going to get the driver from Clemson. Hedesti goes off just a little bit. He's going to lose 2 spots because of that. Fiore up to the 6th position. Actually, he'll stay in 7th as a little bit of 2-for-1 for Campbell. As Campbell's still behind Fiore for the moment, but he's going to look to make a big move down here in turn 10. If he can get the draft, he's going to throw it to the inside, add a look, but decided to back out of it. So Campbell 7th, Fiore still holding on to the 6th spot.
We were kind of talking about earlier, but these GTP cars are going to be running around absolutely free, and it's just up to them to set the pace and run around everybody else with those LMP2 cars, kind of the middleman, that little sandwich between the bread. They're the meat in this sandwich, but it just looks like these GTP cars are just running by, having fun out today, compared to these GT3 cars just trying to hope and pray that they don't get hit by these faster cars, and maybe if they can move out of the way and just let them by, they can have a cleaner race. as we kind of see just Ben Fiore just now maybe locking in, just kind of setting his race to go, see if he can run down this hour and 48 minutes. Kind of see him run the tiniest bit wide, almost touching that grass there on this double right. And just looks like we're starting to see a little bit more of a separation to Sean Campbell. It just looks like a little bit of pace just coming out for that 52 car of the University of North Carolina machine. We cut back into the top 3 of the GT or the LMP1 cars, or GTPs, with Evan Onofre running 3rd right now. We kind of see Muhammad Alif jumped up into the lead place here. He was kind of running a little bit back there with Jamie Palencia in 2nd place in this lead pack as they run right around Porsche on both sides leading up into turn 2. You kind of see our fastest lap being Sean Campbell. He's had a lot of work to get back into the spot. Let's see if we can see where he's going to be in 2 hours, see if he can make his way back into here. And we kind of see that 3rd spot, Mr. Jamie Palencia, just... Oh, and he's around.
Around in front of Onofre. Big contact there. That was the 24th place car, and they are still wrecking there in the back.
That looked like Hunter Hidesi that kind of hit against that car towards the end and maybe slammed into the wall there right behind him. If we can take another look at that accident there. See another look from another angle here. Yep. And is into the wall.
I believe that was Ryan Whitlock that hit the inside wall. Jack Wilson from UNGA. This is coming out of turn 5. A pretty common mistake, I think. He's going to get on the curbs. Just try to put the power down. Onofre plows into him. Christian Hill able to get around on the outside. Whitlock sends it to the left and is just unable to avoid big damage for the 199, the 81, and of course Jack Wilson there. This replay brought to you by the University of Northwestern Ohio. I want to shout at them for sponsoring both the series and the replays, but this is not a replay that Wilson, Onofre, or Whitlock are going to want to watch. Onofre is still out there. I think just a little bit of front end damage, but having to avoid that wreck has allowed Christian Hill to close right into this battle. And it is now a big battle as another car off track there, 3 wide into turn number 5. That looks like one of the LMP2 cars. Christian Hill not able to get around Onofre as they navigate through some traffic there. I believe that is Cale Davidson, I think, is the GTP that they're trying, or the LMP2 that they're trying to get around right here. It is not Cale.
That is Cale.
All right. Yeah, taking a look at Christian Hill. Oh, this is high. This is another GTP. I do apologize for that. Palencia was very far ahead. Something must have happened to that 22 car. Slipped back. He has now given second spot up to Onofre. Oh, that is a really risky move to the inside of, I think that's Gavin Marzan, a couple other GT3 cars. But yes, this is a GTP. I assumed Palencia was pretty far ahead. But yeah, Jaime Palencia jumping, or falling back just a little bit. He is now under fire from Sean Campbell, who was on our ticker twice there for some reason. That was a little bit strange. But this is now the battle for the 4th position, both overall and within the class. So a lot on the line here, battling for 4th early in this 2-hour endurance race.
I mean, these cars are extremely fast, so it's no wonder that they're going to be very close in times and very close in position. It's always going to be such a fight between these faster cars when you're having to dodge between 2 slower classes. With Muhammad Alif leading and Jamie Palencia now sitting 4th overall between his class and complete in position now. We kind of see Christian Hill still fighting for that 2nd spot as well. Just Muhammad Alif running away with it between Edwin Onofre in 2nd place with Christian Hill in 3rd. So we kind of see this battle starting to form as he may take a look on the inside, maybe coming into this S. He kind of backs it down, back into single wide racing. Let's see if he may take a look into this next corner, see if he can get out braked into here. Maybe into turn 5, we will see as they kind of pass around some little bit more of a lap traffic. And we go 2 wide, tries to take the inside, and he does. Takes position away, like a very solid position pass. That is almost textbook of a pass there, leaving Jamie Palencia now in 5th, with Sean Campbell now pushing up into 4th after being in the pit lane and running down a little bit of a penalty, running down a little bit more lap traffic, but Jamie Palencia has a lot more work to do if he wants to win this race tonight.
Taking a look here at Sean Campbell as he continues to work his way through the field, getting around more GT3s, still not able to put a lot of breathing room on the driver from Fisher College or Jaime Placencia, but now he's going to have a look at the third place car, Christian Hill. Hill up 5 spots from the beginning of this race, but he's got Sean Campbell all over his bumper. That this just shows, I mean, you can be a lot faster than somebody on raw pace, but when it comes down to actually passing them, you have to be patient, waiting for the opportunity, waiting for a spot, and even more of those opportunities can get taken away as you have to maneuver around those slower cars, the LMP2s, the GT3s. Right there, though, really good block from Christian Hill. He's going to try to keep Campbell behind him all the way down the straightaway, but Campbell is going to get the toe. He's going to have the opportunity to pull out at the last second if he wants to. He's just able to get to the corner, and he is there. He's going to have the outside into turn 10. Last to late breaker this time looks like it's going to be Christian Hill for the moment. Hill maintains the position. Campbell's going to try to look to the inside here in 11. Back in turn 12, still defense from Christian Hill. And for this lap, Hill is going to hang on to the third position as more lap traffic ahead of them, but to the inside. Moment there for Campbell, not able to get it done.
Taking into 3 wide across that front straight. That might not have been a great idea going around turn 1, but speaking of patience, it looks like Sean Campbell is not wanting to be patient tonight. He is wanting that position back, and he is fighting for every little millisecond here today, trying to get around Christian Hill and just see if he can get that position back. And he goes, almost into 3 wide. So he makes that move to the outside of Christian Hill, but he kind of just doesn't take it. And around the Porsche, that is excellent blocking there between Christian Hill using that Porsche as a mobile wall. Kind of give him a little bit more breathing room as Sean Campbell now has to fight back to get right on the bumper, gaining a little bit of separation there. We'll see if a little bit of late braking will work. And it does not yet. But around the BMW they go, and around the lap traffic, leaving, looks like Ben Fiore just back there in the dust. And he's around the inside of Christian Hill, and he takes that position back. But will that Mustang be any problem? No, they will not, as Christian Hill may be trying to take another look around the outside. But he keeps that third spot, and back into the top 3 Sean Campbell goes.
Campbell right now about 12 seconds off the lead. At the pace that he's going, it'll only take him about 12 laps to get there. But a good recovery from the mistake. You saw how patient he was getting around Hill there. That's exactly what you got to do. If you find yourself in a wreck or find yourself in a hole, you have to serve a penalty. Something happens. You just got to put your head down and wait for the opportunity to make those passes. As soon as the door opened, Campbell was able to walk through it and now put some distance on Christian Hill. Wouldn't have been able to do that if he'd forced the issue and gotten himself in the wreck. So both speed and racecraft being shown from Campbell, and that is exactly what you are going to have if you want to win this race.
I've seen some Wyatt in the chat saying, go Wyatt, come on Wyatt, you can do this. If we can maybe take a look at Wyatt Burton, it looks like in P2 of the LMP2 class, see if we can get them up on screen. There he is as he goes around the outside of the BMW, working his way around lap traffic in that Dallara P217. Very strong driver. He's been strong all season. He's also a very good driver in the other series he races as well. And it looks like he kind of chose your favorite series here, Mr. Cade, running in that LMP2, that middleman of the series. Very strong, even cars. The only difference between the LMP2 cars is the actual setups, running the same chassis. Very well good there on that turn 6. Coming up into the straight, will he take a little bit of toe off that Porsche? It may matter not, but it looks like he's got about a second on P3 Kel Davidson. He moves to the inside of that Porsche with the pink wheels and into the last chicane. Very strong turn there.
Ethan Decatur there. They were side by side, a couple of rows deep behind the 111 of Decatur. A little bit of multi-class, interclass action there. But yeah, take a look at Wyatt Burton. He's a good bit off of the class lead now. Some of that side-by-side has shaken out as the leader is now going to get around Decatur. That looks like...
It looked like Armand.
Not entirely sure.
Edwin
That was
Onofre and
Sean Campbell.
Already
This is
caught
the battle
up
for
to the lead,
second in
too.
GTP. And Onofre is just going to let him go. Pulled over to the outside of turn 4. That's in the S is a really dangerous spot to go side by side, but Onofre said, I don't need to prolong this battle, so I'm not going to. Campbell up to the second spot. He has quite a ways to go to get to a leaf. But Onofre back to P3 there, working through. That's Cale Davidson just behind them, currently third in the LMP2 category. And just behind them, a few GT3s as well. I'm also seeing shout out for Lexi in the chat. I don't see Alexi on my roster, but if you give me a car number, we can probably get that driver focused on. So we have... we do also have the opportunity to pull some people into the booth. So if there's anybody that you would like us to talk to in the middle of this race, we've got some questions lined up. We've got some interviews to do. So let us know who you would like to talk to. I think it's only fitting that the first driver that we talk to, if we want to go ahead and bring somebody into the booth now, would be Clint Halterman, the man who has decided to sponsor this race. This race being the Sandown is for sure better than this. Strong opinion, Sandown track apparently better than Road at Atlanta. Message from Clint Halterman is Sandown is a goated track, and it is for sure better than Road at Atlanta, and I would tend to agree. So let's bring the man into the booth. There he is, Clint Halterman. In your race, what has made you decide to sponsor this one, and what is the message that you would like to share with everybody back at home?
I don't think I'm sponsoring this one. I think I'm sponsoring Magello, aren't I?
No, your name is all over this race. This is better than Sandown.
Oh,
So this is not better than Sandown. Is that correct?
this is better than Sandown. Wait, no, this isn't better than Sandown. I don't know. Oh shit, sorry. I missed a corner. If that was Sandown, I wouldn't have missed that corner. Basically, my message is Sandown is the greatest racetrack in the entire world. As I'm not, as I say that, I'm going side by side with the guy at this track, but, if this is Sandown, it'd be a better battle. And that everyone should buy Sandown because, yeah, it's awesome.
All right. Well, I guess congratulations on your surprise sponsorship. Hopefully, you're planning on running well in the race that you're representing here. Currently, top 5. Talk to me a little bit about these first 25 minutes. Now, you're doing good. You're almost a quarter of the way there. How has it been? How has the GT3 traffic been?
It's been okay for me. I had a little hairy moment with a P2 car, but so far the prototype traffic hasn't been too bad with them catching me. Yeah, I haven't had too much practice with this. Not the best at these cars here, I don't think, but gonna try and stick with this. Looks like we've got a nice little group of cars here. The top 3 have kind of pulled away, so I think it's gonna be a pretty good battle for 4. If we got like what now? We got like 5 cars now within 3 seconds of each other. I'll make that okay. 4 cars within 6 cars within like 4 seconds of each other. So yeah, it's just gonna be honestly about surviving. It's gonna get harder as the race goes on. It's gonna get harder to see. And and then prototype traffic, they come up so fast on you. It's gonna be sketchy. So just gonna try and survive and not get wrecked, I guess.
We wish you the best of luck. Now, we don't have an esteemed panel of questions. The panel is out to lunch. In fact, the panel is out on track, and we'll get around to talking to them at some point later. But we do still have a question for you. If you had to give me a Mount Rushmore of tracks, your 4 or 5 favorite best tracks of all time, could be anything, dirt, oval, road, what would be on your Mount Rushmore of racetracks?
Well, we all know what number 1 will be. That, of course, is Sandown, the greatest racetrack in the entire world. Everyone should buy Sandown. That would be number 1. I probably put. I really love Road America. That's also one of my top favorite tracks. So that's gonna be up there. I want to put an oval up there. I'm gonna put Darlington. Darlington's super fun. Whoa. Um, it's just that, especially in iRacing, it's just a blast to just race around. And then finally, I gotta put Watkins Glen up there. That's been one of my favorite tracks for a long time. And I know a lot of people hate on Watkins Glen. It's a little bit maybe of a boring pick, but I think it's just really fun to throw that car around there, especially in like a stock car going through the bus stop. That's just one of my favorite things to do. So yeah, we're gonna go with Sandown, Road America, Darlington, and Watkins Glen.
All right. Well, I guess I'm not Nick, so I'm not going to restrict you to thanking just one person. But if you have one or more people that you would like to, oh my God, they're 3 wide behind you. Oh Lord.
Though.
Wow, they didn't die. That was really impressive. If you have one or more people that you would like to thank, you do in fact have the floor.
Well, I would like to thank the creators of Sandown. Whoever designed that track, they did a brilliant job, and everyone should go by Sandown because it is the best racetrack in the entire world. And that's all I'm going to thank. The creators of Sandown and the team that scans Sandown and put it in iRacing.
That's Clint Halterman. Thank you for joining us. I will work on my mic issues, and while we do that, we will hand it over to Wesley.
Thank you, Cade, and you have a good one, Clint. Let's hope your race is a lot better.
Oh, they wrecked us back there a few cars back. Somebody was around. I think it was a black car. I don't know exactly who. There was definitely an incident coming at a 12 there. As we have a change for the lead. Hang on a second. A lot going on. Plenty to do.
Looks like Sean Campbell is taking the lead. You kind of saw Sean Campbell win on Monday in the Cup Car Series. You're kind of seeing him just dominate Road Atlanta today, as Muhammad Alif is not letting up as he tries to look for the inside around that chicane, but he backs out of it, knowing that these two GT3 cars are right in the way. So maybe if he can get around these, maybe take another look into turn 5. Will he make the move? Looks like no, he's going to hold that P2 position, knowing that Sean Campbell is a very strong driver here today as they kind of move around that Ferrari, that GT3 car. Sean Campbell just starts to run away with it. You kind of see him pulling a little bit away from Muhammad Alif, pulling about 1 and a bit tenths, but it is not out of the question that Muhammad Alif is going to look toward the inside, but he backs out of it, going back into turn 10 and into turn 11. You see Sean Campbell just running away with this lead. You saw him start in the pole position, served his penalty in the pits, go all the way down to last position in 8th, and you saw him climb each position, claw back that win in this pole. You just see the amount of time difference that he is pulling away from Muhammad Alif. As you kind of see him just pull away from the Muhammad Alif. It looks like my pick may have been wrong today here, Cade. I'm not sure, but maybe this Sean Campbell, he may just be the king of Road Atlanta. I don't know. He won on Monday, and he started pole here, and now he's just leading.
Well, we've already seen chaos strike for a couple of the GTP cars, specifically Onofre and Whitlock. We've also seen Jake Cummings have a big moment in the LMP2 category. That was something that happened quite a while ago. That car out of the race, and a lot of moments at the back end of the GT3 field. Already a few cars out of the race there. So there's plenty of opportunities, which is not what Sean Campbell wants to hear. He wants to hear clear out front, clear out back. But unfortunately, what he may be hearing is that there are cars in front, cars next to him, cars behind him. And if, that continues, certainly an opportunity for chaos to cause anybody other than Sean to slip into the lead. He's been really good at avoiding it thus far this season. The law of averages says that it might be his turn to get involved in a wreck soon, but he's also been really good at avoiding those. So we'll just have to see if Campbell can hang on to it. At the moment, he's got over a 1-second lead on Muhammad Alif, as we're looking at a really aggressive battle here. Drew Williams in 7th, fighting now for the 6th spot within the GT3 class.
So you kind of saw him in that 4-pack there running around the S's, but it looks like Drew Williams has kind of kept his nose clean so far in that Mustang for Clemson, trying to take a peek upon that McLaren car into the double right-hander up into the straight. These Mustangs are extremely fast here on the straights as you kind of see him just start closing that gap with an LMP1 car right behind him, not too far away, as he starts peeling away, and he goes 3 wide across the back straight.
Yeah,
And
another
make
one
that
sneaks
time-
through there too. Woo! That is Evan Main now battling with Drew Williams. Here comes Edwin and Ofre. They are 3 wide into turn 2.
And
I think
contact.
there was some contact there. Main got bullied out of the way. That is the number 10 car, I believe, in his series debut. Here comes Ben Fior to the inside of turn 12. Going to get around both GT3s cleanly. Williams now has a little bit of work to do if he wants to try to get up near the 5th spot, but for the moment, he holds P6.
Going to that 3 wide, they were 3 wide 3 separate times across that back straight. You kind of see Drew Williams kind of touch that grass a little bit there into the start of the chicane and into the S's. It is very one hectic race, but it is not near as hectic as what we will see later on in this race. Maybe a little bit of green flag pit stops running here in probably about 10 or 15 minutes for these GT3 cars. And that's that double right. You see kind of 3 cars in a line, but Drew Williams just kind of slowly runs away with it from that McLaren. Like I was saying before, this Mustang is a very fast car. It's very headstrong in these straights. That V8 power definitely helps it along the way from Ford. You kind of just see him. We kind of cut back to the 8th spot. Nick Henley, as he tries to take a little bit of a look against that McLaren as well. Maybe that McLaren is going to be running a little bit slow, maybe not. Just kind of depends on how this race is, as Nick Henley starts to take a little bit of a look on the inside, and we're fighting for 7th place before Nick Henley kind of backs back down out of it against that 7th place car. Seems to be one heck of a fight for this 7th spot. Maybe he can try and challenge Drew Williams, but we are not sure. Kind of touching the grass. It seems to be the common thing around that turn is to dip a little bit onto that grass just to make it a little bit straighter. Coming through the S's and around turn 4, I believe. Good turn 4 there. There's none running wide there. So we're kind of 2 wide here. It looks like a little bit of lap traffic. Not sure. Gotta see him
working
tucked behind
through.
that Porsche.
That is some lap traffic. Oh, we have pit stop starting here. That was a couple of LMP2s in. Cale Davidson, Ricky Paz, 2nd and 3rd in that category, and Willoughby just ahead of him. Look at the top 3, all pitting right in a row. Pit stops typically about 30 seconds. Willoughby is going to leave a good bit ahead of Paz. Great race thus far for the alumni from Clemson. More LMP2s, and now I believe a few GTPs coming in as well. Yes, that is Ben Fior from Marist making his first stop of the day. I see Edwin and Ofre on pit road. Heimlich Placencia on pit road. Campbell and Alif has pit as well. So yes, Campbell the only one who has yet to make a stop. So we're taking a look at Chase Girard here, number 99 from WSUT. Saw some shout outs from him in the chat. Having a pretty good race right now, 15th. In the GT3 class, and we haven't called his name all day, which is really good because that means he hasn't been involved in any sort of incident. So shout out there to Gerard. Nearly an incident behind them as Hunter Hadeste made a very aggressive move into turn 10. And we're also seeing on the chat some shout outs for Christian Kim in the 20 car. Kim did not have a great start to this race, but he is still rolling, hoping to pick up a few positions. As Chase Girard still tucks in there, still rolling. And looking forward to the next hour and a half of racing. The night is still young here in the This Is For Sure Better Than Sandown Grand Prix, brought to you by the University of North Carolina in Charlotte's very own Clint Halterman. we're going to go ahead and roll some ads real quick. Want to give a shout out to all of the sponsors that we have with us tonight, specifically the University of Northwestern Ohio for sponsoring both the series and our replays. University of Northwestern Ohio is the leader in high-performance motorsports education. So if you are interested in a career in racing, get the inside track in the high-performance motors industry with a degree from UNOH. From high performance to automotive, agriculture to diesel and robotics, the University of Northwestern Ohio has a program just for you. Begin your education at the university that started it all. For more information, head on over to www.unoh.edu. That is www.unoh.edu. We also want to give a shout out to ECAC, their esports program helping us out here in the CIL. ECAC Esports exists to add great value to its member schools by enhancing the competitive experience for hundreds of students seeking to participate in intercollegiate esports. So as a beneficiary of that, I think Wesley and myself are pretty glad for the work that ECAC does, Whiplash Sim Cams, and of course the Collegiate iRacing League. We have a website now. If you're looking for the ultimate hub for the Collegiate iRacing League action, look no further than our new website. From up-to-date standings, race results to the full season schedule, and links to all of our broadcasts, go to collegiateiracingleague.com. So we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back to the This Is For Sure Better Than Sandown Grand Prix, presented by Clint Halterman.
Knowledge where you can learn by doing? The University of Northwestern Ohio puts the wrench in your hand and your future in motion.
I would recommend UNOH to anybody who wants to excel in this industry.
With industry connections, cutting-edge equipment, and programs in automotive, diesel, high performance, robotics, and more, this is education that works.
You will come to this school and you will leave 10 times what you were when you came here.
Apply now at unoh.edu. University of Northwestern Ohio, the industry listens.
UNOH has a fantastic reputation. I feel the confidence that I can go anywhere in this country and there's someone that is looking for someone like me.
Our graduates are known, our programs are respected, and our students, they're future-proof.
You don't see a school like this every day, so I'm very happy I found this place.
Turn your passion into a career at unoh.edu.
And welcome back to the race here at Road Atlanta. We kind of cut back here into Cale Davidson after our ad reads there. Thank you, Mr. Cade. We kind of see the fight here for second now instead of first. We kind of see that first place already dipping off by himself about 4.5 seconds ahead. So now the fight is for second between Cale Davidson and R. Muhammad Alif. So we're going to see, that is the LMP2s, I am sorry, for the fight for second place there as well. Kind of just see the first place between all three classes just kind of running off with it for their own. So each class is running for the second place spot. So you kind of see a little bit of lap traffic here. So speaking of tonight, it is the third round of season 13 of our first multi-class season for the CIL. It is such a great race here. We see all different disciplines kind of clashing here between three different series, with Cale Davidson kind of running right on the tail end as they come around the last turn with the GT3 car running into the pit lane here, not giving any room for Adam Willoughby to breathe as he kind of shoots to the inside there to defend his spot, be a little bit of a blocker, with Cale Davidson still trying to track down that second place spot and run away with it.
Now taking a look at Ricky Paz, he is a good 7 seconds back of that battle as it's finally feeding time for the GT3s. Saw Ferris Krippendorf there, driver from Clemson University. Shout out to him there in the chat. Here's Mason Gay, one of my guys from the University of Alabama in Huntsville. Charge on. And of course, Nick Stockner missing a rear end on that 124 car. Somehow heavy damage to the driver from Clemson. But yeah, all those GT3s coming in, that group was pretty solidly being led by Robbie Kiesel, with Ferris Krippendorf a very solid second spot, able to put some distance between himself and Enrique Nino. But in the middle of this cycle here, the lead for the moment is going to shift to Clint Halterman and Jake Dick. As this battle continues, Willoughby has lost the lead by quite a bit to Burton and has experienced pressure from Davidson. Now a lot of pressure as both cars bottom out down in turn 12 across the stripe. Willoughby going to defend the inside, wants the racing line in turn 1. A little bit of a crossover there from Cale Davidson, but Davidson has to back out of it just a little bit, and they're likely going to be single file at least until they hit turn 6. Now finding themselves in lap traffic that looks like Drew Williams and, somebody, that's a green car. I don't know who that is. I'm not going to try to guess. I've been wrong too many times tonight. That's not even Drew Williams up there. That's Andrew Hords, I believe.
No, I believe that is going to be the 23rd spot. In that, what is that, the Corvette?
Oh,
and there's a car sideways.
Sideways. Oh, dear. Oh, and what
a little bit of
rejoin.
a pucker moment right there for that LMP1 car, just shooting to the inside there. And Adam Willoughby still in that place with Enrique Nino. It looks like he's sideways.
Looks like gets on the gas a little bit too heavily in turn 6. I've definitely seen this before in a GT3 car. And our winner from, I believe, the first race of the season. Yep,
and into the wall he goes. Just losing that rear end. And it just looks like he just loses it again out of that. It just looks like the tires kind of melted there after that incident there. So we kind of see an LMP1 dip to the inside to avoid him. And he's now kind of out of this race until he can get back into the pits, maybe get a little bit of damage fixed, and maybe recover from that. It's a really unfortunate moment for Mr. Enrique Nino, the Florida International University machine. And he kind of just into the pits now. With Christian Hill being the number 6 car. Round turn 2 he goes. Very strong car there. He's going to be running, trying to get back up into that 5th spot. He's got a little bit of a gap to go for that number 5. And another little bit of lap traffic there for that Corvette. Just seems to kind of slow all the way down.
Yeah, that car parking it on the backstretch, really dangerous spot. It's a little bit blind there. That was where we saw the incident earlier with Wilson. Not really sure what the situation was. Possible that car ran out of fuel. We know that the GT3s right now are at the very tail end of their fuel window. I don't think there were any incidents that were caused because of that, but if he runs out of gas at that spot on track, it is a tow back to pit road, which means at least 2 or 3 minutes of just sitting there thinking about the mistake. So not entirely sure what happened there. As we take a look at Ben Fiore able to get around, I think that's Nick Henley, as the GT3s have cycled back around. Robbie Kiesel back in the lead of that category, but it's less than a second between himself and Ferris Krippendorf. Great run from Krippendorf from Clemson. I believe his first season in the CIL, and he right now is challenging for the GT3 class lead.
Really, you kind of see a lot of very high contenders here for the freshman class of the CIL season 13. Kind of going a little bit around traffic there with maybe a little bit of a pass here with a little bit of flashing lights for Mr. Ben Fiore. Coming around, seems to be the Cale Davidson car. They come around that LMP2, the Dallara P217, a very strong car this series. And around he goes to get even closer to Cale Davidson and see if he can maybe take a little bit of a look. Looks like to be a little too far. Is Ben Fiore still in P4 for the Marist College machine? Jaime Palencia sitting in the 3rd spot, rounding out the top 3 of the GTP class as he kind of comes around that BMW GT3 car.
That's Jake Dick from Ball State getting in the way a little bit. Ben Fiore flashing him, going to go side by side through that section of the S is very difficult. Look at the lot of time loss there. Back to Placencia as getting around a little bit more lap traffic here. Really good exit from turn 5. For Fiore going to close in. This battle likely to continue for quite a while. Something happened to Edwin Onofre. I don't know if we replay of that or not, as there is a battle for the GT3 lead. Krippendorf to the inside of Kiesel. There's contact. He's going to crowd him all the way to the left. Kiesel, for the moment, able to get on the brakes and maintain the lead. It looks like Krippendorf going to get a little bit of a better exit, though. Power down through turn 12 and back around the home stretch. Krippendorf trying to set himself up really good for turn 12. Maybe he'll have a passing opportunity in turn 1, but a huge block from Kiesel. For the moment, the driver from FIU is going to be able to keep the position, but Krippendorf has been giving relentless pressure for the last couple of laps. Hasn't had an opportunity yet, but certainly he's going to look for one. If he can stay right on that bumper, he's going to get a chance soon. This, the battle for the GT3 class lead.
Kind of taking another look here at that BMW that spun a little bit. And just taking another look, seeing that FIU car of Enrique Nino. He's currently sitting, I believe, P2 in standings, but now sitting in the pits. Just kind of lost that car there. Looks like he's still going to be repairing that car after that 2 to 3 minutes of towing. That is probably either going to be a race done, or he's going to be several laps down for that number 05 machine. As we cut back to Ben Fiore in the 4th spot of the GTP class from Marist College. See, kind of now fighting against the Ferris Krippendorf and the top leads for the GT3 cars, as we see the top 4 run right by him like they're standing still. And that looks to be a LMP2 car just now coming out of the pits. What cars does that seem to be, as he kind of just blocks his way for Ferris Krippendorf, just getting right in the way and just saying, no, this position is mine. I want it because I am faster than you, as he may take another look around, giving a little bit of a gap between the 44 machine and the number 77 from Clemson. And he's all the way around. And we may take another look from an LMP1, the GTP car, sorry. Also getting a little bit of a lick here in this battle between the GT3s, and all the way around like it's nothing. But we may see Ferris Krippendorf kind of take a little bit look closer, maybe get a little bit of a draft coming off of this straight with that Ferrari. I've said it before, I'm going to say it again, those Mustangs are extremely fast cars around this track, and they're no joke to say. As we kind of cut back here to the 10th spot with number 95 Logan McKim from St. Clair, fighting for that 8th spot against that Porsche car. Who does that seem to be? Who's our number 8? Is Gavin Marzan for Florida International, another FIU car. Seems to be a very good presence here for the FIU cars this year, as he takes a spin and knocks into him.
Contact there, McKim sent to the inside. Same spot as Wilson earlier, and Fiore is forced to do a little bit of off-tracking to avoid the incident. Marzan gets loose on corner exit, but is saved, and McKim is the unfortunate victim of another wreck at the exit of turn 5. Nearly calamity as well for the GTPs, but everybody gets away unscathed except for St. Clair's McKim Killer. He's having a great day running inside the top 10. And unfortunately, no longer McKim has towed to the pits. Likely will be able to continue, but several laps down.
So it just kind of leaves Gavin Marzan either really regretful for that move, or really just kind of head down thinking, well, that happened, time to move on. Trying to go now for that number 7 car of Nathan Roth, another fellow Porsche driver. But a little bit of a gap. We kind of see some faster classes right behind him, kind of closing in on him. Maybe if we can cut back into Ferris Krippendorf from Clemson, fighting still for that lead with the Cale Davidson number 69 car not far off. With a Dallara Piece 217 closing rapidly. Maybe another move is going to be in the works, just like we saw a couple laps ago with the LMP2 car just denying the pass between Krippendorf and our leader, Robert Kiesel. Will we get a little bit loose? No, it looks like not this lap. But the LMP2 car is going to be working on passing them shortly.
Yeah, a lot of patience there. I think he may have had the opportunity to try to jump to the inside of Krippendorf, but he knows that this is the battle for the class lead. Not going to try to get too involved. You can see sitting behind there on the straightaway, probably is going to be able to get them down into turn 10. Yes, flashing the lights now, and both Kiesel and Krippendorf going to move out of the way and let him sneak through. Still, though, class lead for Kiesel. Not able to put any gaps on Krippendorf. It was up to about 10 car lengths a little bit ago as they barely managed to avoid a car that was dead on track. Absolute, that was a blind corner there. We're gonna have a look at it. Looks like it's Chase Girard. We were singing his praises earlier, and unfortunately, in that second kink for turn 10, 10B gets himself off into the grass, and he is okay. He's off the track, but starts getting rolling right in the middle of the pack. Able to do so cleanly, and Girard will continue on his way. Actually didn't lose any positions. He is still in P14, so I guess good damage control there from Girard.
Absolutely. We kind of cut back here to Ben Fiore, the 555 machine from Marist, trying to track down that third place, maybe get himself back on the podium, see if he can take another look here. Going around turn 12, back onto the starting straight. As they're now coming around some lap traffic, maybe a little bit of a look towards the inside for Ben Fiore, but he kind of backs out of it. And, ooh, that was very close of a pass there. I think Ben Fiore might have saw that and maybe backed down a little bit just to avoid a little bit of contact. As they're now single file, and almost a little bit of contact between that Ferrari there, very narrowly avoiding that is very, very lucky to survive that on Mr. Ben Fiore's part. He's got to be thinking, hopefully that didn't do me any damage. To see if that kind of comes around with a little bit of a red on the brakes as they're now coming onto the big straight here. See if Ben Fiore can chase down that, as that is the car ahead that may have just gotten a little loose. We cut back here to the 12th spot with Andrew Hordes. Maybe a little bit of a fight for the 11th spot here. Kind of a tighter turn exit there.
Yeah, I think that's Donovan Kennedy that he's just behind. Kennedy right now hanging on to the 11th spot. We'll have to see here in a second. Yes, that is Donovan Kennedy.
But not for long, as Andrew Hordes shorts to the inside and a little bit of contact.
A lot of contact. Didn't like that at all. Kennedy, I think, tried to get him on exit. Not able to do it. Tucks in behind Hordes, and now the FIU driver up to the 11th spot. Really close. We've seen that all day in turn 10. Now, though, Hordes under fire from behind. He's going to give up another spot here. So 2 spots in just a lap. Here comes another GT3. There's a lot going on at the top of the hill.
There's Alex Finnerty in the 321 machine. And we take another look at Chase Girard back on track and keeping it straight this time. Let's see if he can make a little bit of a recovery going after that BMW right ahead of him. And that is a no, as another FIU car is taking another look at that WSUT car. Seems to be a lot of the FIU cars just going at it today with no sparing, no mercy today, with that BMW chasing down that bumper, trying to get a little bit ahead of him, maybe take that 14th spot away from Chase Girard. Will he take to the inside on this corner? He will not. He kind of takes a little look there, maybe coming on the straight. He may try and get him onto this straight. He may be a little bit slow there. That is a lead GTP car taking away on the straight, just running ahead of them. And the BMW takes another look towards the inside. Will he get it? He will. Chase Girard does not want to put up a fight there. He may be having a little bit of a flashback from a few laps ago when he kind of spun there. He was having a great race so far. We'll see if he can get back that spot there, as the 2 BMWs slowly trying to drive away from them.
And that car that's doing the passing there is Enrique Nino. Nino is actually a couple of laps behind these guys because of that damage, so he's not going to fight him too hard, but we know that he has the pace because he was fighting for the class lead earlier in this one. So Nino right now just being patient, doesn't want to interfere with cars that are a couple of laps ahead of him. Nino right now back in about the 21st spot, trying to just maintain a little bit of track position. As I think it could be time here. We're a little bit strung out. What do you say that we bring a few more drivers up here into the booth?
Cade, you took the words right out of my mouth. I think for starters here, I think we should pull a little bit of our esteemed panel up here to maybe take a look at them, see if they have any advice for us today while they're driving.
All right, we'll get them pulled in here. So, all right, let's bring them into the booth. Hello, hello, welcome. It's the esteemed panel again. Congratulations. You've made it back to the booth while driving. How's it going, guys?
It's been absolutely terrible.
Let's add a reminder for sweariness.
Mixed reviews.
Anyways,
We don't need swear jars in here. I couldn't give a shit.
okay. Well, that's how Nick's race has gone.
If it makes you feel any better, we have not used our one allotted F-bomb for the night. You're taking a look at Nick Stockton, 19th position. We saw you earlier without a bumper, Nick. What's the story there?
Well, I messed up there. I didn't brake enough into turn 1.
It does happen. It happens quite a bit, quite frequently. What about you, Ricky? You have been dicing it up in the LMP2 class, a little bit up and down day. How's that been? You know.
God, you know what? To tell everyone that I haven't hit anybody, so everyone can sit here and...
By some miracle of God.
Oh my God. Quit your bitching. Aren't you like 15 laps down? I don't want to hear
7.
Oh, okay. No, quite frankly, if I wasn't in it for the points, I probably would have quit a long time ago. I'm exhausted, but...
Arpad Kovacs is a jack.
I gotta be honest, I don't know if you saw that incident, but I had nowhere to avoid Drew or Adrian because they wrecked on the racing line. So the only incident I've been in wasn't my fault. Am I driving like an idiot? Yeah. Should I park it? Probably. But I'm retiring, so I don't really care anymore.
And of course, Ryan, we kind of saw what happened to you there. Still out there limping around. I respect it. You've got a no for a. Yeah, so you kind of mentioned there the retirement. A little bit of big news dropped this week as that was scary. So
tell this Arpad Kovacs guy that he's gonna get dumped.
We may want to take a look. I'll tell the producer here. We may want to take a look at whatever Nick Stockner's involved in right now. But a little bit of an announcement this week. The admin team kind of doing some turnover. Y'all guys taking a step back. Thank you all for everything that you have done up to this point in the CIL. But kind of what is that next chapter that you guys are looking at?
At least me personally, it's getting my daggum degree, and getting my money up, not my funny up. That's the main motivation behind just going on to greater things. I think I'm getting a little long in the tooth. Time to actually get my piece of paper and go try to work in this industry for real rather than managing a bunch of 19-year-olds who pretend to do it for fun.
This is fun? No, I don't know that any
Use
of us
the term loosely.
I don't know that any of us are qualified to speak on any of this, but the last couple of years have been a good enjoyment for 15% of the time, and also a good learning opportunity for the other 85% of the time for the admin team. And we're all getting old, so
who's the youngest? How old are you, Ricky?
23.
Yeah, and I think you're the youngest admin.
Yeah, I probably am. So
I think Edward is.
Edward
doesn't run a series.
Sorry to cut you off. Just a little bit of contact there between the LMP1 car, trying to get past a little bit of lap traffic there.
LMP1.
LMP1 didn't know they were here.
GTP. I'm sorry. I'm very used to LMP1s.
Yeah, that was Hunter Haddison. Hunter Haddison has had a very interesting day. What's up?
Can we talk about some of the GT3s being absolutely atrocious, including one that got booted from the session while driving right in front of Ryan Whitlock? Are we allowed to talk about that on stream?
Yeah, sure.
What are we going to do, fire you?
Yeah.
I think it was Jack Wilson, 18, who spun out of turn 5 and didn't hold his brakes, which resulted in my doom. And not even like didn't hold his brakes, as in like just didn't hold them enough, and we could see his wheels still spinning, but he was giving it brake pressure, blah, blah, blah. I checked the replay, and his brake lights weren't even on for half of his spin, so... And then, like, he was wrecking in front of me in turn 10, and was, like, in the dirt, and I think had damage again when it was already several laps down. So, as one of my final acts as league director, I just said, Jack, you're done. Park it.
And brother, get him
I
out
hope
of
he
here.
understands after some time. I know that was tough to do, but hopefully he understands. Anywho,
we did catch that moment. That was kind of our first moment of the race, really. So congratulations, I guess, on being involved.
Oh yeah,
in
I'm thrilled to be a part of it.
I mean,
guys.
I'm sure it's been a rough season for a lot of people, but specifically if you have UAH Blue on your car, I feel like there's a lot going on. We don't have a game show to play. I'm sorry, Nick, and we'll leave that to you.
Oh, what are we doing?
What the hell are we doing here? What kind of a truck wagon budget are y'all running?
We're running the operation where we still have questions, but the questions don't have correct answers. The questions have answers that you come up with. I'll start with Nick, I guess, since he seems really willing to give his opinions. Give me your Mount Rushmore of racetracks, top 4 or 5 of any track type. Who are you engraving, or I guess what are you engraving on the side of a mountain? Do not say Road Atlanta.
Mount Rushmore of tracks. Well, Road Atlanta is going to be one of them.
Oh, no.
Austin Tam needs to get off the frickin' racetrack.
I think in terms, I'd like to think about, you know, the importance and also the method in racing. Stock cars, I definitely have to go with probably Daytona. So I got Road Atlanta, Daytona. In terms of formula, I probably want to put Monza up there. And then in terms of, I guess in terms of a track that has a very important distinction in the world, put Bathurst up there as well. That's my Mount Rushmore.
Ooh.
That's a very strong
The fact
track.
that Indianapolis is not on that list is a crime.
Well, well, Road Atlanta is better than Indianapolis. Daytona is better than
The road
Indianapolis.
course, absolutely. The road course, absolutely.
Well, Ricky, since
Daytona
you want to
is
give
debatable.
the
That's
opinion on
debatable.
that,
Yeah.
what
that's
seems to
arguable.
be your Mount Rushmore of tracks for you, Ricky?
Probably Indiana and Daytona. Indianapolis and Daytona. Those are going to be for sures. Other than that, I mean, it's up to personal preference. I think that if you're talking about great tracks, you're going to have to look at Le Mans, even if it doesn't race great. For the prestige, you got to put that up there. And if we're looking for a fourth and we're going crazy, we're going to say Chicago Street Course, the best track ever created.
I think we're going to have to disagree on that one.
So an interesting track that I haven't heard anybody mention yet is Sandown, which just so happens to be sponsoring this race. Ryan.
You didn't ask me.
Yes, Ryan. So now that I've reminded you of that, what is your Mount Rushmore?
Well, for sport, Road Atlanta is the best sports car track in the world. Indianapolis is the best open wheel track in the world. Daytona is a very prestigious stock car and sports car race, so I'm putting Daytona on there. And for Australian supercars, Bathurst is still better than Sandown. Sorry.
Interesting. All right. As it happens, the sponsor of today's race happens to not agree. I'm sure you've talked about that, but
Clint can eat my shorts.
I don't think he knew. He was
super good,
sponsoring
but
the race.
Bathurst is better. He knows it.
Well, thank you all for joining. We are trying to be a little bit more free flowing, I think, than the panel typically is. So we're not going to restrict you guys to just one individual. But if there's anybody that you would like to thank, or maybe not,
Guessing that was my fault too, wasn't it, Nick Stockner?
Lord.
Ryan should like to thank me because I just wrecked Christian.
Let's go!
No.
Rip.
Hi, Ricky.
Are you behind me?
Yeah, this is me. I'll probably just wait until exit at 12 here.
Got it. The setup I have is trash, by the way. I'm
Alright.
not going to endorse.
I'm giving you room.
Anytime soon. Let's go 3 wide and turn 1. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Ooh, bro, you see how slow I had to brake early for that.
Well, I was just trying to get around the GT3.
That's fair.
These
And,
LMP2s aren't
are there
fast
anyone you three would like to thank?
I'd like to
Racing
thank my
here.
future wife. I'd like to thank the CIL admin team for keeping it real the last couple of years. We're gonna sunset. We're gonna ride off into the sunset, half drunk and probably half dead as well. Thanks to the fake esteemed panel for trying, even though they didn't have a game show planned. What a whole bunch of losers. It's like step 1 of being on the esteemed panel, but it's fine. I won't hold it
Oh
against
god,
you.
I'm about to go 3 wide with these guys.
And also, Nick Stockner still owes me cuddles, by the way. Did you just pass on the grass, Ryan Whitlock?
Yep.
That was insane.
I would like to say
Pass
that
on the
we
grass.
are not the esteemed panel.
Yeah,
Me
you're
and
the
Kate,
fake
uh,
panel.
I would
wanna
like to
thank-
think that we are the acclaimed assembly.
Acclaimed assembly.
Yeah, cool.
I
Jesus.
sure don't have a damn game show.
Can't all be as good as us, you know. That happens.
The
Oh my.
acclaimed assembly had to call on the esteemed panel to
You
make
know,
it worth a damn.
if I have to thank anybody, I first would like to thank all the admins except for I'm just gonna thank all the admins for everything they've done.
No, say it. You
All
won't.
of the work. Well, no,
You're gonna say there's several people this could be.
as much as I really want to say, there was at least a couple admins that gave us a hell of a headache. You know, everybody did their part in the end, and I can't really complain.
Beef.
Nick, how bad did you kill Christian?
I turned him.
Oh, well, if he didn't pit for toe length, then what's the point? Damn it.
Well, shit.
Well, Ryan, is there anyone you want to thank?
Yeah, all of my customers over at Whitlock's Wieners. I hope everybody enjoyed putting my wiener in their mouth at Petite Le Mans.
Oh my God, that's on the internet.
And to making sure they were plump, girthy, and yummy.
It's gonna get any motorsport job anytime soon.
I'd like to thank Orangeville Racing. I'd like to
Can't be
thank
spectating.
I'd like to thank all of the parents and fans of Ball State University. I know I am your biggest fan, and trust me, I read all of your comments and all of your concerns, and I'm not apologizing. That's all I've got to say.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared.
All right, well, that was your esteemed panel for the CIL. Thank you guys, and I hope you guys have a great race and a great recovery for what's happened here tonight.
Ooh.
Lord.
All right, so that was our little bit of a peek into what used to be the esteemed panel before they all decided to go, enjoy playing the game and getting old and stuff. I don't know why they would go and do that, but they have gone and decided that they want to actually drive instead of talking about driving, which, I can respect it. Even though they did pick a track like this one, I am none too fond of Road Atlanta, but some of them are, and they have decided to enjoy it. So yeah, really unfortunate that a lot of those incidents did happen. I think all 3 of them have been caught up in something today, although Ricky's the least bad. He still sits second in the LMP2 category. We've got plenty of other guys to try to bring in here. So we have we got about 49 minutes left. I think about 1 pit stop left for everybody else too. So that's kind of about where we're at in the race.
So if we can take a look here at Sean Campbell, just kind of running by himself, about 32 seconds away from Jaime Palencia. He's just kind of off in his own, running his time down, just trying to take his time. Really, there's no reason to push. There's no reason to sag. He's just kind of coasting around the track, running around all the lap traffic, and just having fun with tonight, as he is now picking even further with Jaime Placencia going into the pits for his final pit stop. We're going to see if Sean Campbell is going to take a little bit of a longer time running in, or if he will take an early stop. But as it stands right now, it looks to be the nearest car is about 45 seconds or 23 seconds away from our Muhammad Ali sitting in the 4th spot. But as for right now, it looks like the driver for the University of North Carolina is going to be just on his own.
As we see Adam Willoughby sneak by some traffic there, looks like we're going to be able to talk to the leader of the race. Sean Campbell is lined up to talk to us here, so let's go ahead and bring him in. Sean Campbell, you started this race off a little bit on the back foot, but you've gone back up and taken the lead. How was that drive from the field? Drive through the field, sorry.
It's interesting. There was one moment in turn 5 that was a little, like, you know, a premonition dream-esque. Saw a light flash before my eyes, but it's okay. No damage so far. But, you know, it's been interesting. Bit of a struggle to survive the GT3 onslaught, but it's Road Atlanta. That's how it is. I'm a pit here in a second. So, yeah. It's been good, though.
I was just saying, you kind of won in the Cup Series on Monday, and it just proves right now that you were the king of Road Atlanta so far, holding over a 15-second gap to the cars behind. What's the secret here? What's the secret to being the king of Road Atlanta here?
Curb usage and traffic management. Because you can get away with a lot of curb on this version of the track, and not to like it's a lot more than they'd use in real life. But the other half is of course traffic management, where it can cost you literally seconds per lap if you don't get it just right. So having that is also nice to have.
Absolutely. We also kind of saw you started the race on pole. You had to serve a penalty by doing a drive-through. Put you all the way down into 8th position, but you have crawled back every second and now lead the race. That is one strong of a drive. I definitely don't think anyone up here besides you could do that around here. But leading off of the race sponsors saying that this is better, that Sandown is better than here, do you tend to agree that Sandown is better than Road Atlanta, or are you more partial towards this track?
I think that nighttime at Road Atlanta is very interesting, because there are some places where there's not light, like turn 3, I believe. Yeah, turn 3 doesn't have lights, which makes the approach very, very interesting in sim. I bet in real life as well, because it's already a challenging corner in real life. You come over the crest and don't see either the outside or the inside of the track. But to do it at night is very tough as well. And it looks cool at night. Maybe not good for the broadcast, but it does look cool on track.
It's been perfect for the broadcast. There's been plenty of lights between the GTPs and the LMP2s, broadcasting enough light that we can see everything on track. Now, tonight we are not the esteemed panel that you might have expected, so we don't have any special game show here, but we do have a question, Mr. Cade, if you want to ask him our very special question here tonight.
Yes, so the theme, did you want to answer the question? Do you not want to answer the question? You seem a little hesitant.
I'll answer the question.
Okay.
If I can answer it correctly.
Well, there's really only one wrong answer to this question. It's very open-ended. But if you could create a Mount Rushmore of racetracks, your 4 or 5 favorite, most iconic, whatever tracks you want, can be any type, oval, road, dirt tracks. Give me your Mount Rushmore of racetracks.
So it sounds like it has to be American tracks, right?
No, can be from anywhere in the world.
Ah, okay.
Could be circuit, could be oval, dirt, it doesn't matter. As long as it's a racetrack, it is open for the question.
I think Road Atlanta and Sebring have to be on there, and then I think the other two are Le Mans and Spa. Because Le Mans is iconic, and Sebring and Road Atlanta are iconic and fantastic, and Spa is like I don't know if it's an unpopular opinion these days. It's like the Dust 2 of racetracks. It's the perfect racetrack. It is the reason everybody loves it.
I tend to agree. That is, yeah. I have had that on my Mount Rushmore. I think Spa needs to be. Spa needs a little bit more love nowadays, for sure.
does.
But
I will have to say, Le Mans was my pick there as well, along with Nürburgring for some European tracks to throw in there.
Yes. Okay, I might have, let me replace Sebring with Nürburgring.
no, what?
There we go. I like this answer.
It's a cop up. It's a toss up between Road Atlanta and Sebring on there, and then Nürburgring and Le Mans and Spa. America just has too many good racetracks. Clearly, it's too many
There
good
seems to be a
racetracks.
surprising lack of Sundown here. I don't know. Sandown, I am sorry. Sandown for Sundown.
Hey, Sandown is good. Sandown is good.
But is it better than Road Atlanta?
It depends on the cars you're driving on. I think Road Atlanta can be worse than Sandown in certain cars. Sandown is more consistently a heater in every car.
He said it. He said it. Sean Campbell said it. Sandown's better than Road Atlanta. I'll take that. I'm going to clip that out of context, and I'm going to use it for my purposes. Thank you. All right, that's all we need from you.
Yes, it is.
Supercars. All right, well, we are not the esteemed panel, so we're not going to limit you to just one person. Actually, shoot, we're probably going to get to talk to you later. We are probably going to get to do an interview with you later. Okay, well, then we'll let you thank people when you win the race, which, if you don't, that'd be really funny, so no pressure. But thanks for coming up and talking to us. Good luck in the last 42 minutes, and hopefully we'll be up here yapping with you again.
No problem. Thanks.
Sean Campbell, currently class and overall leader for this race. Like we said, just about 42 minutes to go. And the Sandown is for sure better than this 2 hours. We do want to take a moment to thank you all for watching. So thank you everybody for tuning in. If you want more information about the Collegiate iRacing League, head on over to collegiateiracingligue.com for standings, broadcast links, and race schedules. Any other information that you may want about the drivers or the series here in the CIL. We want to thank all of our admin teams, everybody who works behind the scene, especially our producer, for doing it tonight, pushing the buttons behind the scenes and giving you guys great shots here from the virtual road Atlanta. I do want to also thank our sponsors, especially the University of Northwestern Ohio, which sponsors both the series and our replay systems. UNOH in Lima, Ohio is the leader in high-performance motorsports education. If you're interested in a career in racing, get inside track in the high-performance motorsports industry with a degree from the University of Northwestern Ohio. Graduates from UNOH are among the world's best high-performance motorsports technicians. From high-performance to automotive, agriculture to diesel, robotics, the University of Northwestern Ohio has a program just for you. Learn more at unoh.edu. We also want to shout out ECAC Esports, Whiplash Sim Cams, and of course Clint Halterman, the driver from UNC Charlotte, for sponsoring today's race, to remind everybody, just like Sean Campbell said, that Sandown is better than Road Atlanta. So we now have the opportunity here. I think we should go through the field and take a look at where everybody is running just past the midway point of tonight's 2-hour endurance race, starting with our leader, Wesley. Take us here from P1.
Absolutely, kind of seeing P1 overall and in class, with Sean Campbell leading in the first position, with the second place, our Muhammad Ali, sitting over 21 seconds behind. And Jaime Placencia sitting not far off of him in the third place, with fourth place leading off with Ben Fiore and Hunter Haddisty not far off, with our number 6 car being Christian Hill. And if we can get a number 7 of Ryan Whitlock, and it looks like the number 8 car, Edwin Onofre, in the pits and maybe out of the race, maybe from a prior incident. We'll maybe take a look at that here after a while, but that is going to be it for our GTP. Looks like he's going to be about 36 laps, so he's going to be out of the race so far. But we're going to take a look here at the LMP2 cars and the Dallara PC217s. Leading it is Adam Willoughby, with second place being in Wyatt Burton, and the number 2 car being about 6.5 seconds off of him. And following not far behind is Cale Davidson from Ball State University, with fourth place being Ricky Paz, one of our esteemed panel members, with fifth place being Jake Cummins and out of the race. And into our GT3 cars, I'm going to give it off to you, Cade, to lead off on our battle here.
Yeah, this battle has still been raging. It has been continuing. Hopefully we'll get a chance to look at it as it draws on. Right now, Krippendorf has it over Kiesel. Has been leading the last few laps here for the GT3 classification. But he's just ahead of Robbie Kiesel, the FIU driver, hanging tough. They've put a really big gap to the third spot, but doing battle here. Third spot right now, Jake Dick from Ball State University, been able to move himself, put himself in a really good position. Just behind him, we have the P4 car of Drew Williams, not too far back of Jake Dick. You can see him there. And then rebounding up to the fifth spot, Evan Main from Minnesota State. Saw some contact with him earlier, but he has had a very solid recovery into the fifth spot. Pit stop starting right now, so the order's a little bit scrambled. But Andrew Burrow from Clemson, really good run for him. Right now sits in the sixth spot. And P7 at the moment, Nathan Roth from Auburn University. Another really solid run from this driver as well. P8, Gavin Marzan, another driver from FIU. And he is just ahead of the ninth place car of Andrew Hortz, his teammate there in the 23. Looks like rolling off pit road. Going to try to get some heat in those tires. He'll lose a spot momentarily to Chase Gerard, the driver from WSUT, who will slide right there. Now looking at Donovan Kennedy in the 14th spot. I believe I got the paint schemes mixed up earlier, so I apologize for that. He's in the 86. It is Alex Finity we were talking about earlier, so I apologize for that. Christian Kim here in the number 20 car sits in 13th for St. Lawrence. We may have an opportunity to talk to him here in a few minutes if you'd like to do that. And just ahead of Christian Kim is Mason Gay. Last time we looked at him, he was the 19th, now up to 12th for the 06 car. So good run for Mason, although I believe he has one more pit stop to make. Nick Henley, your GT3 winner out at Indianapolis. In the previous race, he sits in the 13th spot, pulling down pit road. Driver for Ball State. And just behind him, it's Patrick V from the University of Delaware. Got a shout out there from, I believe it's his brother, Zach. So cheering on fellow driver from the University of Delaware, sitting in the 15th spot. Just a couple of laps off the class lead, which has now gone to Jake Dick. Here's Ethan Decatur, the driver from Valparaiso, of course representing Duolingo Danica Patrick Racing. He sits 16th spot, a couple incidents there, but really good rebound earlier on this race. He was well outside the top 20. Now sits in the 16th spot. I do want to shout out those pink wheels there, raising breast cancer awareness here this October. Logan McKim from St. Clair College has taken over the number 95 for this week. He sits in the 17th spot. And just behind him, back in P18, it's Arpid Kovacs from John Brown doing battle with Nick Stockner earlier, now sits in the 18th spot. And there is Stockner himself, so both of these drivers, I think, on pit road to repair some damage. Austin Tam and Alex Finity pretty close together on track. Finity from UNC in the 21st spot. Now cycling through the field. A lot of these drivers already out of the race. Ricky Tubakovic, they've been involved in incidents, and the rest of the GT3 field out as well. Yeah, Halterman is out of the race. Nino is out of the race. Matthew Monroe is out of the race. And then, of course, as mentioned earlier, Jack Wilson is out of the race. So as the sun sets, the track cools down, which means lap times cool down as well. Sean Campbell, sub 108, new fastest lap of the race. And as the pit cycle goes on, Robbie Kiesel has actually retaken the effective GT3 class lead over Ferris Krippendorf. Jake Dick still has to make a pit stop in that 66 car for Ball State, but once he does, he'll relinquish the class lead over to Robbie Kiesel, and that will allow the FIU driver to get back to the lead, looking for his first CIL win of any kind.
Absolutely. You can kind of see Robert Kiesel sitting in second place now, taking away from Jake Dick, and Jake Dick leading in the first spot. We kind of saw Robert Kiesel and Ferris all kind of bunched up, running all race long, but it seems like Ferris Garrett Krippendorf is now actually taken back that second spot now, as it looked like Jake Dick may have dipped into the pits, with Robert Kiesel taking back that lead spot with a GTP car of trying to sit on his tail, maybe take away that little bit there, get right past him, get on that car that is just ahead of him. Going around the double right. Very strong driver these FIU cars have been, with Ricky Paz sitting in third place of the GTP class with Muhammad Alif just ahead of him, that seemed to be, and Sean Campbell just off on his own. But with Ricky Paz sitting in third, now running down the back straight with Ferris Krippendorf right on his tail. Maybe we can see a little bit of a fight here with Ricky Paz as he kind of closes in on that second place of Wyatt Burton in the LMP2 class.
And one of the battles that we had been watching, sorry, here's Wyatt Burton from Trine. One of the battles was Jaime Plasencia and Ben Fior, and that battle sort of broke up quite a bit. Now, 8 seconds between those two cars. That was Fior that we just saw getting around Robert Kiesel. The gap between Burton and Paz right now actually sitting at nearly a lap. So within the pit cycle, not sure if Burton just hasn't pit yet or something else, but Burton has a full minute, locking himself in the second spot. He's only 3 seconds behind Adam Willoughby, still leading this class. So Burton has the opportunity here. If he can put some good hot laps on, I think he can see Willoughby just ahead of him. Yeah, the orange car going into turn 6 there is the class leader. Getting through that traffic, that's very heavy traffic just ahead of him. I believe that's Marzan, Gay. Looks like, oh, Gay comes off the corner and nails Ferris Krippendorf. The driver from UAH, I think, tried to put the power down a little bit too much and slammed into the 77. And I don't see much major damage, but getting another look at that. He tries, I think, to get out of the way and instead winds up on the curbing as he puts the power down. Gets those left side tires off into the grass, just no grip whatsoever for the 06. Trying to do the right thing, and unfortunately major contact for both him and Krippendorf.
So we kind of saw a very strong race from Krippendorf all day long. Still holding on to that second place after a big group of contact. But that may have left a little bit of damage onto that Ferrari there. The only time will tell to see if that damage becomes a major play into this race and see if we can get the third place to start fighting more, or if it just isn't going to affect Ferris and watch him take on that car here.
Yeah, should have no problem getting around the lap traffic, but looking there over on the relative, the gap has come down. It's actually gone up to nearly 9 seconds. Krippendorf took some damage, but also lost a lot of time in that incident on the previous lap. So it's going to be really, really hard to dig himself out of that hole. I think if Robert Kiesel can avoid making mistakes. Meanwhile, Wyatt Burton has caught and passed Adam Willoughby. The two in the 022 are right there together. Burton closed up in a hurry. Willoughby now a few car lengths behind Burton, and Mr. Excitement, with 30 minutes, just over 30 minutes left, has gone to the lead of the LMP2 category, and it has become a comfortable lead, Wesley, as he's up by now over a second.
Absolutely, but don't hold your breath, because that second does not mean that much around Road Atlanta compared to the over 20 seconds that Sean Campbell has over Muhammad Alif. So I think Wyatt Burton may have a little bit of room to breathe, but not all that much. He still needs to focus on taking these turns sharp and getting the car around in one piece like he has been all race. But just as we have just seen between those GT3 cars, it is not set in stone, and one mistake can cost you more than just a position, but it can cost you a whole race. As that gap now climbs to over 2 seconds, so I don't think he'll have to worry too much besides coming up into this traffic. If this traffic starts slowing him down a bit, we may see a bit of a fight between Wyatt Burton and Alan Willoughby. But with Wyatt Burton's very strong passing abilities, I don't think it'll be too much of a brag for him to do.
Burton going to continue to put time on Willoughby. There is Willoughby, and again, they are well ahead of Ricky Paz. Cale Davidson, also in the LMP2 category, has brought it down pit road. So that there's still, of course, plenty to go. Like you said, one mistake can end the race. You've got to be very, very careful. But for the moment, it looks like we very solidly kind of have a clue as to who our class leaders are. So I think we should go ahead and bring somebody else into the booth here. Who do you think we should get? We got some odds.
I'm thinking that we kind of maybe bring a little bit of a Christian Hill up into the matter. He's kind of a little bit down there in the positions, but not down in spirit. He is a very strong driver, and I know he is fighting 100% and giving it his all. So I think we should pull Mr. Christian Hill up into the booth. Maybe give him a little bit of talking to. He's usually used to being behind the camera, usually being a big
Oh yeah,
producer,
this will be fun. Yeah, he's not usually up in the booth. Let's do this. Let's bring him in here.
Hey Christian, how you doing?
Oh, hello.
Hey, Jump Scare, you're in the booth now. And you're not behind the scenes. You are the scenes. P6 closing in on Jaime. He looks, I think, got some pretty serious damage, so you might be up to the P5 here. How's the race been so far up in the GTP category?
Started the race one pretty strong, actually. I gained quite a few spots early on, so that was good. I had a rough qualifying, so was able to gain a lot of spots. That was good. Rest of the race went okay. I ended up getting rear-ending a few of the Solar GT3 drivers who were going through the turns. It's just difficult gauging. You know, you have just massive gaps in skill and speed. So you know, just a couple of mistakes here and there. But other than that, yeah, I'd like to get a top 5, hopefully, but we'll see.
You kind of saw a little bit of accidents from you early on. Has your race changed at all between, you know, how you've been driving so far versus how you started?
Yeah, like I said, I had a little bit of issue earlier. I had a few, like I said, I rear-ended a few GT3s. I definitely made some sketchy moves, but I think they were good enough moves to, you know, no one died, and you know, we all lived. Everyone was fine. So I think they were, you know, decent enough moves. I think there's one specific move that I think could have gone without, but the rest, you know, I'm fine with.
All right. Well, we do not have a game show tonight, unfortunately. We aren't quite as esteemed as the panel that's typically up here, but we do have a question that we want to ask and get your thoughts on it. If you could give us a Mount Rushmore of racetracks, can be any type of track from anywhere in the world, who or what, I guess, are you putting on the Mount Rushmore top 4 or 5 tracks?
Ooh, I could do top 5. So I'll do Watkins Glen, Road Atlanta, Nürburgring, or Nordschleife, excuse me, not Nürburgring GP, Nordschleife. Let's see. Mugello and Daytona Road Course.
Okay. How do you feel about Sandown?
I actually don't own Sandown at the moment.
Have you talked to Clint Halterman about that? I think he could hook you up with that.
I have actually. I've watched many a race at Sandown. I do want to buy it at some point. I'm a bit on a budget restriction right now, but I think it would be. I do think it's a cool track. I think it would be a lot of fun, especially in something with maybe a little lower downforce, a lot of power. Yes, the supercar. So we'll just have to see.
Right, and I do want to ask, because it was made public this week, you'll be taking over as the league director for the Collegiate iRacing League, all of our different series that we offer. So I want to say congratulations. Excited to see what you're going to do here, and I guess if there's anything you'd like to share about that, anything you'd like to say, once again, congrats, and I'll go ahead and give you the floor.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's definitely a great opportunity to be able to become the league director. It's been a long time coming. I came in just, you know, helping out with some broadcasts. It's something I like to do. It's really fun. And then, you know, I became the broadcast director, and since then I just kind of more and more assisted with the league and whatnot. So I think it'll be great. I do have a few changes for next season. Nothing too drastic, but I think it's going to be season 14 is going to be absolutely awesome. Super excited for it. It's a spring one, and then so it'll be a lot of fun.
All right, well, we're looking forward to. Before we let you go here, we're not the Steam panel, so I don't care if you thank more than one person. You can thank whoever you'd like, anybody you want to shout out, anybody you want to say hi to. You have the floor to go ahead and give some shout outs.
Yeah, I'd like to thank, first and mostly all, I guess coming off of the league director thing, I'd like to thank the entire administration. Nick, Drew, Ricky, Ryan, Tucker, Josh, Edward, anyone, Jarrett, John, anyone beforehand. The league wouldn't be where it is today without any of them. All of them had helped, no matter how big or how small, and they all made very, very good contributions, and I can't thank them enough for that. And then, I'd like to thank my girlfriend for, putting up with this. I just she just came in, she was like, can you be quieter? You're yelling. And I was like, oh, sorry. Cause I was pretty loud. So, and then my family and anyone who watches or races in the CIL, I appreciate them as well.
All right, well, thanks for taking the opportunity to come talk to us. Best of luck in the rest of the race, rest of the season. And looking forward to great things here in the future.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
That's Christian Hill sitting P5 right now, actually up to P4 in the GTP category, getting around Hunter Haddisty, I believe. A big incident there to the 888 car. That driver from Clemson was involved in something, been on the pits for quite a while. Same with Jaime Plasencia we noted at the beginning of that interview. So guess we should interview Christian more often because he is up 2 spots from when we started talking to him. Although unfortunately I think it comes at the demise of a couple of other drivers as he works through some GT3 traffic, doing a good job keeping that Mount St. Mary's machine straight. Not really still in contention for the win, but still in contention for a very solid finish.
Absolutely, and it's always such a strong driver for Christian Hill. He's very, very good at what he does, and I'm very happy that he is taking over as our league director. But back on the topic for our race, as we kind of cut back here to the number 3 spot in the LMP2 cars, we have Adam Willoughby, the 022 from Clemson University, kind of making a little bit of a push here to get into that 2nd spot against Ricky Paz. He's kind of alone out here right now between Wyatt Burton, Ricky Paz himself, and Cale Davidson, the only remaining LMP2 cars, on track so far. So they are the only ones keeping the middle of the road between the GT3s and the GTPs. As we kind of see a little bit of a push between that GT3 car, he kind of shuts the door there, taking back his spot with himself, going against Ricky Paz. See if he can outbrake into the chicane. He does not. So it is Adam Willoughby holding the number 3 spot for right now.
Well, we got a little bit of a break in the action here before we wrap it up. As I say that, the action happens right in front of Adam Willoughby. That was, I think, one of the GTPs doing a little bit or a lot bit of off-roading. Trying to get a look at who that is. That may be Ricky Paz, actually. This is the battle for 2nd. Paz felt the pressure going up the hill with dirty tires. Kind of has to lay over and give the spot back to Willoughby. But we've seen a lot of pace out of this 19 car. He was really solidly in the 2nd spot earlier, so he's going to have a good opportunity to go catch Willoughby once he can cool his tires down and get back to it. So we'll give Ricky a chance to collect his car. As I was going to say before that incident happened, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break, hopefully for the last time today. Just over 20 minutes to go here in the Sandown. Is for sure better than Road Atlanta Grand Prix, presented by UNC's Clint Halterman. So don't go away. We'll be back in just a moment here from Road Atlanta.
Northwestern Ohio, racing isn't just a class, it's a lifestyle.
Every single day, I go to class and we're thinking about racing. And on the weekends, it's about racing. Literally, my entire life is racing now, and I just love it.
At UNOH, your classroom is a garage. Your homework, horsepower. And your network, the racetrack.
Making the connections with all those people is huge. That's how you get somewhere in racing, and UNOH definitely helps you with that.
Apply now at unoh.edu.
And welcome back to the 2 hours of this is for sure better than Sandown. As we cut back onto Ricky Paz, who is in the number 3 spot, recovering after his little bit of dirty tire issue against that second place car. Now Adam Willoughby, as he cuts around that GT3 car, kind of sitting just under 20 minutes here for the sports car series with our multi-class racing, with Wyatt Burton leading the LMP2 series as he kind of cuts around the outside of that GT3 car of that looks to be Nick Stockner. And a little bit of grass touch in there for the Christendorf against Robert Kiesel, sorry.
And Krippendorf has done a good job. We mentioned that there was some major damage to that 77 car, was 9 seconds back of the class leader. He's brought it down to 5, has not pitted to fix that damage. So Krippendorf, he's been running some really, really good lap times. You can see him pushing there all the way out to the grass on the exit of turn 5. A little bit of blinking there from the lap car behind him, but Krippendorf doing everything he can right now to try to run down Kiesel. I'm not sure really what that situation is there with the Mustang just behind him, but Krippendorf has cut some time off that lead. He's still digging into it. He's got 18 minutes, which I would estimate is probably going to be about 12 laps. So at half a second a lap, he has a shot to get Kiesel, but in traffic, half a second can be quite a lot to ask for. Luckily, at the moment, it's clean track for the Clemson driver. Although he does have, I believe, a GTP coming up to catch him. So we'll have to see if Krippendorf can run him down. Our Muhammad Alif is in the lead. Had cycled there on a pit stop. Stayed out a little bit to cycle there for the moment. But as he rolls into his pit box, he's going to give the lead back to Campbell. Campbell already made his final stop of the day, and that should secure the top spot for the driver from UNC. I think for the moment, Ben Fiore from Maris is going to cycle into second, but after the pit stops, he may have to give that spot back to Alif. We'll see if that happens. Battle for second could be on our hands here as we wind down at Road Atlanta. We've seen Fiore and Alif not able to get away from each other all season. They had a really good battle week 1 at Road America. Get my roads confused. So we'll see if they do battle for the second spot here today, looking for the second rung on that podium.
Absolutely, as you just kind of see Sean Campbell just running away with it. The only position, the highest position you can get besides Sean Campbell wrecking out is going to be your second position. And to be honest, yes, absolutely. Ben Fiore and R. Muhammad Alif have not been able to get away from each other. They've been constantly at each other's bumpers all season long. From Road America to Indy to Daytona, they've been here since the beginning. And they are not going away. And neither is Sean Campbell, as well as he's just running away with it, setting lap time after lap time in the low 108s, high 107s. As we kind of cut back here to Ricky Paz in the LMP2, kind of coming around Nick Stockner. You kind of heard him talking earlier. Will we see a little bit more conversation between them, or will we just see a little bit of a pass and go?
Yeah, it looked like there was no problem there. Nick kind of knew what he needed to do. Stay wide on corner exit. Give Ricky Paz the racing line there. Paz trying to hunt down Adam Willoughby. The pit stops that cycled out in the LMP2 class. Burton still has it by a long shot. Paz still trying to recover to catch Willoughby like we talked about before that commercial break. And they have a big gap back to Cale Davidson. So that's pretty much the entire LMP2 field. Jake Cummings out of the race. Edwin Onofre also out, along with a host of GT3 drivers. But honestly, for the most part, we still have a lot of cars running. The top 20 in the GT3 category, only one driver out in each of our prototype categories. Definitely much cleaner racing than the first two races of the season, and you do love to see it.
Absolutely. We kind of saw at Indy a lot of incidents going on in the turn 1 as Indy, we kind of run backwards. So we kind of run a right turn a little bit more than the left compared to here at Road Atlanta. We run a lot of back and forth. So maybe there's a little bit of a overlap here between Indy and here. Just the only difference being a lot of elevation changes. You kind of take a look here at the number 23 car of Andrew Hordes as he is getting passed a little bit by what looks to be an LMGTP car with no difficulty.
Yeah, that's Ben Fior. Fior right now in the second spot, trying to run away from this guy here in P3. Don't know if Fior still has to make a stop. If he does, it'll be just a splash and go with only about 10 laps left in this race for him. If he doesn't have to make a stop, a lot of pace from the 12 car is going to put him on defense mode anyway. You can see he's pretty far back of Krippendorf, but he's blinking, wants to get around the 77 as quickly as possible, knows that he has to be on the loud pedal. Krippendorf, meanwhile, knows he's got to be loud with as well. Then no, here comes Fiore. This is going to be the splash and dash for the 555. He's going to get just a touch of fuel, going to try to be in and out as quickly as possible. And if he can do that, he's going to have a shot to maybe run a leaf back down. It'll be about 20 seconds, so a very tall task. In traffic, of course, anything can happen. But Alif will once again assume the second spot after leading a couple of laps there in the middle of that run. Also led a couple of laps early in this race with the penalty to Campbell. But Campbell has since recovered from that, gotten back to the lead, and 35 seconds ahead of Muhammad Alif. Not quite the 2 laps that we saw margin of victory at Indianapolis. So strong showing from Alif here, but looks like once again he will have to settle for second spot on the podium. 13 minutes, just got to keep his car straight for a few more laps, and then the silver medal will likely go to Muhammad Alif.
Absolutely. If we can take a look down at our GT3 class leaders of Robert Kiesel and Ferris Krippendorf. Got a big lead here between Kiesel and Krippendorf, just ahead with a 4 and a bit second lead between the two. You kind of see them fighting all night long. Kind of saw a little bit of a break between them when that accident between Krippendorf and the other drivers happened there on that tiny little straight leading up into turn 6. But that seems to be a whole different problem now, as we see the two back in the top 1 and 2 positions. If Krippendorf can pull that back into the bumper of Kiesel, I think that little injured car is going to have a lot better look into maybe seeing a win versus a silver medal. Only time will tell between the Ferrari and the Mustang. Seems to be a whole nother tale from the 60s all the way into 2025 of Ford versus Ferrari. Will it be Ford that triumphs again, or will it be Ferrari that somehow pulls a out-of-the-pocket win? We'll see here in about just over 11 minutes as we kind of see a LMP2 car, but we will see how time will tell at the checkered flag for the GT3 drivers.
I think now looking at the LMP2 class leader, another mistake from Ricky Paz has dropped him to 5 seconds back of Willoughby, over 17 seconds behind that man Burton there. So here's Willoughby, not really around anybody right now. That's exactly what he wants to see, is nothing. There's a couple of, I think, GT3 cars up there in the distance, should get around those, no problem there. I think that's Nick Henley. It is Nick Henley. But Willoughby right now, I think he'll be pretty content. You're looking at another driver who's going to be solid with a silver medal. Started on the pole, finished second. No major issues for Willoughby. I think that's just about all you can ask for in a race that's so tight and as chaotic as Road Atlanta can get. Willoughby has done a good job managing the chaos. Already had a lot of good runs this season. I believe he was our LMP2 winner in the first week of the season. We do want to take the moment to remind you guys that this season for the Collegiate Sports Car Challenge presented by the University of Northwestern Ohio, we still have 2 races left. After this, all of those will be multi-class races. Our next race is Wednesday, November 5th at Mugello Circuit, I believe. That'll be the same time, same YouTube channel, 7:45 Central is 8:45 on the East Coast. You're looking to tune into more multi-class action, and then we will wrap up the season at Interlagos for our 5th race of the year. But if you want to scratch your itch for the Collegiate iRacing League and get some more racing action before then, tomorrow night I'll be up in the broadcast booth with Christian, and we will be bringing you the Formula College Series as we take on Road Atlanta for our final race. It's been a long week of Road Atlanta. Started last Wednesday out there with the pre-races for Petit Le Mans. Monday we're in the Cup Series, and on Thursday we will wrap it up at the Formula College Series. So once again, that is the exact same time, same YouTube channel, and you're not going to want to miss that one. 8:45 Eastern, 9 p.m. is when the green flag will fly. That's 8 p.m. for all of us folks here in the Central Time Zone. And then after that, the Collegiate Cup Series presented by Yum2 will take to Homestead, Miami, down in Florida. That race will be on Monday, broadcasted by our fantastic producers and our broadcasters, Alex and Brad. So another one you're not going to want to miss. I think that race also 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central Time. As we wrap it up here, the Sandown is for sure better than Road Atlanta Grand Prix. Taking a look at our Muhammad Ali, wrapping it up here, just 8 minutes to go, and then the checkered flag will fly here in Hall County, Georgia.
I see you go 3 wide with some car parts there left on the track. Maybe a little bit of leftover of an incident between all 3 classes, between the GTP, LMP2, and the GT3. That looks to be, and also a little bit of contact there between the 2 LMP2 cars. If we can kind of take another look there and see what happened and see who that was there off of turn 5.
That was, Christian Hill completely ran over one of the GT3s. Can't tell exactly who that was, but this is on the exit of turn 5. That car either trying to rejoin or just was taking a little bit of a weird line. Absolutely destroyed, and we talked about Hill just trying to limp it home for a top 5 finish and not able to get it done. You can see the RPMs going down. That car is destroyed. I don't want to call any names out because I can't see. Ooh, that is the number 86. One of our first-time drivers here tonight. That car is absolutely destroyed. So gonna pull it off for Christian Hill, and that, I mean, with just 9 laps to go, could be a day under. We're riding on board with that GT3 here. You can see able to make a pretty good save as he gets the right front tire in the grass. And when he moves to rejoin on the track, just nowhere for Christian Hill to go.
You've kind of seen it all night. That turn has been a little bit of a difficulty for some of these lower class cars, especially on that exit. Kind of dip that one tire off into the sand, and it just means that your car is off, and you're going to have to try and recover some of that. You saw it on Monday with a bunch of cars spinning there, and it seems like it's kind of carried over here. Even though these cars handle a whole lot better than those NASCARs, it looks like that track is still going to try and bite you the same way.
That's the 86 of Donovan Kennedy. Saw it mentioned there. Was in the 12th spot. Took some pretty significant damage to the bumper, but it doesn't look like any pace has been affected on the 86. So being able to save that car served him well. Looking at a solid top 15 for Donovan Kennedy from the University of Delaware. Welcome to the CIL. That's one of those moments that you're going to remember for a while. You take your first race, go down there in turn 5. You're just trying to get to the finish and nearly spin it on exit, and major contact with that GTP car. So unfortunately not the way that Kennedy wants to end his night. Still going to be racing, but definitely a big incident there. Not what he wants to be involved with, especially the future league director. Man, that is one guy that you do not want to piss off. You want him on your side for sure. But all kidding aside, still a solid run. Top 12 for Donovan Kennedy. You can bring that car home.
Absolutely. You kind of really want to have that Christian Hill right there on your side and be happy with him rather than having him wreck into you because of a little spin off of that turn. But to run it down on the last 5.5 minutes here at the CIL Sports Car Series of Multi-Class Racing, we are going to do a little bit of a rundown with Sean Campbell being in the leader, R. Muhammad Ali taking second, with Ben Fiore sitting in your top 3rd spot, taking home that bronze. See if he can keep that spot going, maybe if he can get a little bit of time down and maybe get onto R. Muhammad Ali's bumper. But it looks like our little table here is going to be a little bit of a set and match. for the top 3 of the GTP series, with the 4th spot going to Christian Hill, who is now in the pits because of that huge accident. Leading into our LMP2 cars, we have Wyatt Burton being our leader from Trine University. He's been such a strong car all race. I don't think he's barely given up that top spot there. So he's really just going to kind of coast it on home. And moving on to our 2nd spot, we have Ricky Paz, 27 seconds off of him. Still kind of just running his race now in the closing minutes of this race. And in the 3rd spot, we have Adam Willoughby, still trying to chase out on Ricky Paz, being the last of the LMP2 cars. We kind of saw KL Davidson run it down pit road and park it for the night to kind of go alongside Jake Cummings. But going into our GT3, I'm going to hand it off to you again, Mr. Cade, to read off on our GT3 cars.
Yeah, Robbie Kiesel has managed to hold off Krippendorf to this point, but you can actually see that 77 car in the distance. It's now under 2 seconds with 3 minutes to go. I believe Krippendorf has proved me wrong. That damage was not race ending. That is him. Right there, you can see those headlights in the distance. Just about, I would say, 30 car lengths or so behind Robbie Kiesel. It's going to come down to it. Krippendorf actually has a little bit more pace, even with the damage to that car. And now he can see his prey. Racing very much a psychological game, and he can see those taillights of that BMW leading the class, and it's going to be go, 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 all push from Krippendorf. Yeah, you can see those brake lights, and he's going to get really, really close down here in, that's turn 3, really slow corner. The distance closes up. It's going to close back up again in turn 5, and he's going to be able to see his prey through the S's. Look at how rough it is. Haul that car off to the left, try to get the power down. Has to counter steer a little bit to save that thing. Still under 2 seconds, so that's going to be something to keep our eye on. We'll come back to this battle real quick. Finish going through the GT3 runnings order. Back in the 3rd spot, well off of this battle, I believe we have... That is Jake Dick, the driver from Ball State. Just behind him, Evan Main has been able to move up and take the 4th spot away from Andrew Burrell. Burrell sitting in position for a top 5, and I really hope that I have not gone and jinxed that, because it's been a rough season for Andrew Burrell. So we can take a look back at that car. Sitting back in the 5th spot, there is Burrell from Clemson. And he is just ahead of P6, who at the moment, I believe, is Nathan Roth, driver of the number 91. Just behind him, Andrew Hordes in the 23, sits in the 7th spot, and he's just ahead of P8 there. Is Nathan Roth from Auburn. There's Hordes from FIU. And then just behind them is the 8th place car. Trying to click through this here. Yep, Chase Girard. I think that's the highest that he's run all night, so ending on a peak. Going back to the 9th spot, Gavin Marzan having to make a last lap pit stop. If I had to guess, that would be due to a fuel either miscalculation, or maybe this is intentional to try to gain some track position on a little bit of an alternate strategy, but that will likely move Nick Henley up to the 10th spot. Christian Kim will take 10th, Henley up to 9th. It's actually a black flag, so likely a lot of off tracks occurred for Burrell. Looks like he's going to be in this time as well. If you go off track enough times, iRacing will keep track of those as incidents, and if you accrue enough incident points, I believe it is 25, you will be forced to take a drive through pit road. So Burrell possibly having to serve a black flag with under a minute to go. It's going to be absolutely devastating. We'll take a look at what happens here. It's going to feel pretty nonchalant, but if you dip too many tires in the grass, iRacing basically has decided that you've violated the track limit. Should be right about there in that right-hander part of the S's complex. Unfortunately, that's going to knock Burrell out of the top 5. I cannot believe how terrible the commentator's curse is. We just want to see Burrell have some good luck, and he was in position for a top 5. But if we can bring it back to Sean Campbell, he's going to be taking the white flag this time, I believe, leading the race at Road Atlanta. It's been a great drive from Sean Campbell coming back from that penalty as he works his way through turns 5, 6, and 7 on to the long back straightaway. Looks like Sean Campbell is going to bring it home.
I see his lights flashing there as he is just bringing home that victory, being happy with that first place there. Bringing home the gold again for the second time this week here at Road Atlanta. As he kind of comes around turn 12 to bring it across the line here at the University of Northwestern Ohio Sports Car Series for the 2 hours of this is for sure better than Sandown.
As he cools down. Sorry, hopefully we can take a look back at that GT3 battle. Looks like Krippendorf lost a little bit of time to Robert Kiesel. So I believe FIU was able to win that category. Yes, Krippendorf not able to get it done. So Robert Kiesel is going to win the GT3 category. And I believe in the LMP2s, it was Wyatt Burton racing back to the line here with the GTP of Hunter Hedesti looking to his outside. Really aggressive for the final corner. That was a really interesting move from Hedesti. I think trying to just complete one more lap. But as the field cycles through here, it's Wyatt Burton winning the LMP2 category over Adam Willoughby and Ricky Paz. Robert Kiesel gets it done ahead of Ferris Krippendorf. And I believe Jake Dick in the 66 car rounds out the top 3. So we're going to interview those class winners here in a second. So we'll go ahead and let them celebrate their wins, and then we'll be able to talk to them. We hope that you've enjoyed watching the This Is For Sure Better Than Sandown Grand Prix brought to you by Clint Halterman. We definitely had some good moments there, a lot of good racing, and luckily not as many incidents as we've seen in these races. Sean Campbell shores up his run at the championship. I think for sure he's going to have this one pretty much locked up, completing his sweep. But we see 2 first-time winners in the other categories, Wesley. Unfortunately, we were both wrong, but for Robert Kiesel and Wyatt Burton, they're very happy able to get it done. Trine and FIU going to be celebrating this one.
Absolutely. I should have made my pick of Sean Campbell, but I did not want to go with the most obvious pick since he had won on Monday in the College Cup Series held by Yum2. But I probably should have been, and maybe I would have been right. But as for second place, I think my pick is still solid.
For sure. So we're gonna go ahead and start with the GT3 category. Wesley, for his first win, Robert Kiesel from FIU now joining us up in the booth.
Hey, Robert, you got a mic?
Yes, absolutely.
Man, what a race! It was between you and Krippendorf all night long. How do you feel about that win?
Oof, it was one of the toughest races I actually had on iRacing, to be honest with you guys. I actually crossed the finish line with probably 0.1 laps of fuel left, so a lot of managing. It was tough. It was tough, as you can probably hear.
Absolutely, it does sound like one tough race between you and Krippendorf. What was your strategy once you kind of found out that it was just going to be you two holding off on that top 2 position? What was the strategy going through the race?
Honestly, I'm not sure if he took the tires on the last for the last stint. I haven't. I opted out not taking the tires, so I feel like I pulled a very nice, decent gap, leaving the pits because we left the pits on the last stint, literally next to each other. So I pulled away pretty nicely, did like a gap of 4 seconds, and tried to kept it there. And as well, of course, managed some fuel because yeah, we were a little tight on fuel towards the end. I saw he had also little fuel left, so.
All right, and that was a wonderful race. And just to end off here, is there anyone you would like to thank and dedicate to this win?
Absolutely. I'd like to thank Christian Grzeziewski. He's my coach from Poland. We practiced on this track probably for a week in advance, including pitch strategies, timing, and stuff like that. So I'd like to thank him, and of course thank FIU for having the opportunity to represent them.
Alrighty, and just to end off here, I know we're not the esteemed panel, so we don't have any special little game here, but I do have a question for you, if you're willing to answer a little open-ended question here.
Absolutely.
If you had to make a Mount Rushmore of tracks, your top 4 favorite tracks that you had to put on a pedestal, what would be the top 4 tracks that you would put up there?
Spa-Francorchamps. I think I'd go with Le Mans, Road America, and yeah, Road Atlanta is definitely up there. Could maybe fit a 5th one, would be Watkins Glen. I'm pretty good at Watkins, so there's 5, sorry.
Alrighty, well thank you there, Mr. Robert. Wonderful drive and a great win for you tonight. We'll see you back on track next time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your work as well. Thank you.
And that was Robert Kiesel, the winner of the GT3 class. We're going to try and drag in here Wyatt Burton, winner of the LMP2 class, and get a little bit of an interview here with the winner there. Hey, Wyatt, you there?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Wyatt, how's your night been going, man?
Pretty good. It's a little less stressful now that that's over.
Absolutely. You kind of on the lower end of classes here. You only had about 5 drivers tonight. At one point, didn't you know that you were just going to run off and get a win there?
After the last stop, I knew if I kept it clean, I should have a win under my belt, but I got worried when I got spun by a GT3 with about 45 minutes left. I thought that Willoughby was going to be hard to catch, and I'm not sure what happened to him, but it looked like he had some kind of issue on that last stint, and I was able to catch him, and he had to make an extra stop.
Absolutely. We kind of saw that here in the booth, that little spin that you had with 45 minutes to go with that GT3. Kind of had us a little panic in here in the booth. Kind of gave us a little bit of a stir between the 4 cars left once Jake Cummings was out. What was your kind of strategy there once you started breaking away from the other 2 to 3 drivers?
Honestly, I just wanted to keep it clean. Both in CSC and FC, I've had a rough start to the season. Whether it be my own mistakes or other people's mistakes, it just hasn't gone smoothly, and I really just needed a race to go my way.
Right, and I know we're not the esteemed panel, so we don't have any special little mini game here for the viewers, but we do have a very special question we've kind of been asking here all night, if you're willing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So our main question is, if you had to make a Mount Rushmore of tracks, the top 4 tracks of your list that you had to race, where would you place those top 4?
My top 4, I'd go IMS. It's my home track. Greatest track in the world, by the way. If I'm being honest, I would put Road Atlanta in there as well. It's just such a great track. Shoot, other 2. This is gonna get a little bit of hate, but I'm gonna throw another oval on there. And let's go the Iowa before it was repaved. That was an awesome track, no matter what you're driving. And my final track, I'm gonna say, let's go with Spa.
Spa seems to be a very strong pick here. But how do you feel about Sandown being our kind of lead sponsor here. The Sandown is for sure better than this 2 hours.
So I'm going to get a lot of hate for this too. I've never driven Sandown, and quite honestly, I'm not 100% sure where it's even at. So...
Oh man, you're going to have to talk to Clint Halterman. He's going to have some very choice words to say with you if he knew about this, which I'm pretty sure he will probably watch this broadcast, and he will give you some very special dialogue there. But to end off here, Mr. Wyatt Burton, for the winner of our LMP2 class, is there anyone you would like to thank and dedicate this win?
I said in my voice call that I was in that if I win this, I'm going to dedicate it to Edwin and Ofre. I took him out last weekend when we were running 1-2 in Long Beach, and I told him that if I get it done, this one's for him. So I want to apologize to him for that and dedicate the win to him.
Absolutely. We kind of saw him get out of the race a little bit earlier, so I think that is all the more sweet to him tonight. But thank you so much, Wyatt. Congratulations on your win, and you have a wonderful night, man.
Thanks, guys. You too.
All right, and that was Wyatt Burton, the winner of our LMP2 class here tonight at the Sandown is for sure better than this 2 hours here at Road Atlanta. And to interview our winner of the GTP class, the man who ran away with it, is going to be the man, the myth, the legend, Cade Corbin, heading off this interview.
All right, we're here with Sean Campbell. Once again, congratulations. The sweep 3 in a row, and you now have both races this week. Seems like there's a lot of magic going on. Congratulations. It hasn't been too long since we talked to you, but how did that one finish out?
Pretty good. Just kind of chill. No more crazy moments happen. Messed with the strategy on the pits, or took like half and half on the fuel instead of one big one and then one small one, just to kind of get more pace out of the car on average. Worked out, I guess. I think it probably would have been faster than going the other way.
Well, we did see for a moment that you had lost the lead to a Leaf, and we had a little bit of a panic because I know that I promised that you would get your shout-outs here at the end of this one. So I'm glad that you were able to bring it home and get to shout out some people. But before we do that, I want to kind of talk to you about overall how the season has gone. You know, we only have 2 races left. We're past the halfway mark of the year. You know, how does this, season kind of as a whole live up to your expectations? You know, what are you looking at moving forward? And how do you wrap this one up?
It's been pretty good. Just, gotta keep doing what I'm doing, I guess. Seems to be working. But I'm hoping more LMDHs start to show up as the season closes out. Just because it was a small grid to start with, kind of, and it's just getting smaller and smaller. But they're good cars. Just wish more people would drive them, I guess.
Absolutely. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So, well, now we'll give you that, make true on that promise. If there's anybody you'd like to shout out, anybody you want to thank for tonight's race, you finally have got the floor.
Michael Kaholic for introducing me to CIL the last time. And Maximilian Boyd, because he also does.
All right. Well, once again, congratulations. Fantastic drive out of you coming up through the field and getting it done here at Road Atlanta. So have a great week, and hopefully we'll be talking to you at Magello.
Thanks. You too.
And that was Sean Campbell, winner of the GTP series, being interviewed by Mr. Cade Corbin. So to end off here, Cade, has your opinions changed about the Sandown, or are you still going to hold with your Mount Rushmore top 4?
Well, we haven't seen a whole lot of Sandown, but we have seen some Road Atlanta. I have my personal opinions on Road Atlanta. I'm not going to share them because I don't think they would be very popular. But we did see some good racing today. We saw chaos, but not chaos that was just going everywhere. The chaos was very much, I think, appropriate amounts. Of course, turn 5 was very much the beast that bit some people. But let's go ahead and take a look at our results here and see who won these things. Of course, we know that Sean Campbell won that GTP category, but we'll get your final rundown here. Our Muhammad Alif winds up second, Ben Fiore third, and then this is the overall result. So Wyatt Burton 4th overall, but actually the leader of that LMP2 category comes from just ahead of Ricky Paz. Paz finishing ahead of Christian Hill in a GTP. Hunter Adesti in a GTP as well was unable to get Hill, so Hill hangs on for the 4th spot in class. Hadesti 5th, and then Ryan Whitlock 6th in the GTP category, just behind Adam Willoughby, who was 3rd in an LMP2, and then Robert Kiesel in a GT3 manages an overall top 10 laps behind Sean Campbell, but still very impressive there as he was our class winner.
Absolutely, kind of pushing back into the 11th spot overall, you have Ferris Krippendorf, who ended up being our 2nd place finisher in the GT3 series of the Clemson University machine. And not far behind him was Evan Main, pulling a 12th overall from Minnesota State. Moving into 13th spot, you have Mr. Andrew Burrell from Clemson University, finishing about 12 laps down off of that leader of our winner, Sean Campbell. Moving into the 14th spot, you have Nathan Roth from Auburn, finishing not too far away from Burrell, but just far enough to make that 14th overall, with Jake Dick finishing in that number 66 machine from Ball State, and Andrew Hordes finishing 16th overall. And another surprising finish, we have Chase Gerard from WSU Tech pulling that GT3 Porsche all the way to the finish line after such a very surprising race, with the 18th spot going to Nick Henley from Ball State and Christian Kim in the number 20 machine from St. Louis University, finishing 19th. And to round out the 20th spot overall, we have to give it to Gavin Marzan from Florida International University. All the FIU cars have been running strong.
Donovan Kennedy gets 21st overall. I believe that is about 13th in the GT3 class. Just ahead of UAH's Mason Gay. Patrick Wheat from the University of Delaware, Ethan Decatur, all of those drivers in GT3s. And then it's Jaime Placencia, unable to finish in a GTP. He is 7th in that category. Logan McKim from St. Clair in a GT3. Cale Davidson in an LMP2, unable to finish. Arby Kovacs, Drew Williams, and Austin Tam all running GT3s. Round out your top 30 overall.
Now moving back into the top 40, we have Nick Stockner from Clemson University, who kind of had a very bad finish there in his GT3 C8 Corvette, with Alexander Finnerty from UNC Charlotte finishing in 32nd, with Enrique Nino from Florida International University finishing in the 33rd spot, with Clint Halterman finishing 34th. And into our GTP car of Edwin Onofre making a DNF because of some accidents that happened on track, with Jordan Reike being another car out of the race, with Adrian Tubakovic in 37th, Matthew Monroe from Ball State finishing 38th, Jack Wilson in 39th, and Jake Cummings finishing in the 40th spot with a DNF from Converse University.
And then, of course, Riley Berkins did not make the grid tonight, so that rounds out our field. And that will pretty much wrap things up here from Road Atlanta.
Absolutely. As we kind of take the last little look here of the UNOH Collegiate Sportscar Championship. Thank you all so much for watching tonight's racing action. I hope you'll stay tuned. If you can't get a fix and wait for the Sports Car Series next time, maybe you can check out the race tomorrow night of the IndyCar Formula College Series. Thank you so much to all of our social media pages. Thank you so much for the entire staff for their work and bringing this racing to you. And this has been a production of the Collegiate iRacing League with our producer of Lee Kane, my co-commentator here, Mr. Cade Corbin, and myself, Wesley Shaw. We'll see you